Can we invite the rest of the members to come in? Wintong.
Good afternoon, Mr. Faisal. I beg your pardon. I'm so sorry. It's a bit of an instinct. Mr. Faisal, at the start of these proceedings, you walked in with a prepared note, which you said
Yes.
you have now placed on your left side.
Yes.
Who prepared this with you?
It's all mine.
All yours?
Basically, just to remind me of the sequence of what happened.
All right. And this was prepared using what documents as a reminder for yourself?
Sorry?
What other documents did you look at to prepare this note?
Okay, basically, this is a sequence, and I brought few others.
Which you had used to help you prepare this note?
No. These are separate documents.
Yes, so you have a note, and then you have several other documents.
This is my, basically, my, the DP's notes that I took down.
Okay.
During what transacted between us and Raeesah.
Right.
And this is, because it was handwritten, so I make it into a type format. And this is basically the sequence that just to remind me.
Okay, so there are two sets of documents there. One is a sequence of events which you've prepared.
Yeah.
And another one is a typed out version of the notes that you took at the DP hearing, correct?
Yes.
In preparing the sequence of events, did you look at other materials to help you to remember, help you to reconstruct the events?
No.
No? Did you consult with anyone?
No.
Did you discuss this note with anyone else?
Discuss meaning like
Speak to, discuss?
Okay, basically just need to verify whether I got the date right.
No, one step at a time.
Yeah.
First of all, let's not speak over each other, because otherwise the transcribers will have a difficulty trying to transcribe. And I want to make sure that it is accurate. So first of all, did you discuss this note with anyone else?
Yes, I did ask for whether I've got the date correct.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who did you discuss it with?
I think it should be maybe Pritam and Sylvia, most probably.
Pritam and Sylvia. So you discussed with Pritam and Sylvia this prepared note.
Yeah, because of the sequence, whether I got the sequence right.
Did they give you any comments?
No.
When you discussed it with them, did they tell you you're right, you're wrong? Suggest other
basically
dates?
whether the date is right or wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else did
Sorry.
they say?
Nothing.
How was this discussed with them?
Just basically just tell them this is basically what I recall on this date. Okay, most of the check that I did was on the date itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it discussed with them? Was it in person or by email?
I think in person.
When was this?
I drafted this about maybe 1 or 2 days ago. Yeah, just to ensure that I can recall. Yeah.
1 or 2 days ago. And so you would have met them in the last 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Correct? So which day was it?
In the last 2 days, 1 or 2 days.
Yes, which day?
Maybe yesterday, I met them yesterday and the day before.
So you met them yesterday and the day before?
Yeah.
How long was this meeting?
Not so long, basically.
Can you give me an idea? 3 hours?
2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours on each day was 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Did you have other documents with you at this meeting?
No.
You had no other pieces of paper with you?
I do have basically the content that we presented to the CEC, the finding of the DP, and my so-called the fuller version of my notes that I took down from DP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did they bring any other documents with them for this meeting?
Mr. Edwin, can I know what's the relevance of you asking me this?
I'm trying to understand the note.
Because I did mention to you that I did it on my own.
Yes. So,
yes.
But you say you did it on your own, but you said you also consulted with Pritam.
Yes, in terms of the date. Yes.
So I want to understand whether or not you have discussed.
But how is this relevant to the point that we are talking about Raeesah's? What are you trying to imply? Can you tell me directly?
No, I'm trying to fact find. So I'm not trying to imply anything, Mr. Faisal.
The fact find is for?
Yes, I'm trying to understand the entire circumstance which surrounds the inquiries that we are asked to look into as the committee.
But how does that, my meeting with, sorry, I have to add in, because I don't understand, and I just don't get the point that why there's a need to discuss on this issue, whereas, you know, as I mentioned to us now, I kind of like met them, okay, to basically to discuss about the issue, yes, and basically to, when I come up with this note, you asked me, okay, what's the notes for me to recall, and I check with them, basically the dates, whether it's right or wrong, whether I've got the date right or wrong.
What else?
Yeah.
What else did you discuss with them?
About the, basically try to recall whether, you know, what I recall is correct, okay, because you see that we the two of us are basically being looked into in terms of this case, right? But see, I also need to know whether I refresh my mind correctly or not. Okay.
Mr. Faisal,
Yeah.
the three of you are not being looked into. Mr. Raeesah Khan is the subject matter of this inquiry.
Yeah, correct. That's why I say I don't understand why are you, Mr. Edwin, are you asking about, you know, what transacted, what happened between the two of us, whereas the discussion is now focusing on Ms. Raeesah, and I've already answered to you the purpose of me having these notes.
Yes, and I appreciate that very much. Yeah. What I'm trying to understand is whether there are other documents which exist. As you know, Mr.
But how is it relevant to the point that we're talking about Ms. Raeesah?
Okay, perhaps we have some rules here. I think it's very difficult for the transcriber to record accurately what you say and what I say if we both speak over each other.
I do understand that, Mr. Edwin, but I do want to, I do
Mr.
feel
Faisal,
that we need to focus on
Mr.
the
Faisal,
issue.
I would appreciate if we don't interrupt each other and don't speak over, because if I ask a question, it's not possible for the transcribers to record it if you speak over me.
Okay,
I hope you understand that.
Okay.
Now, so the relevance is, we are trying to understand whether there are relevant documents which exist, which we haven't seen, which, as you know, Mr. Desmond Lee had been asking you for documents, emails, reports, and so on. And I'm trying to explore whether there are such documents which exist. So let me, and your point about asking me about the relevance of the question, it is not for you to ask me or tell me what to ask. If it is not relevant, Mr. Chairman will stop me. So let's go on these rules.
Okay, should I direct that question to Mr. Chairman instead in future?
You may if you like, and
Okay.
Mr. Chairman will decide.
Okay.
But let me just carry on now.
Okay, sure.
So at this meeting, which took place yesterday and the day before, 2 to 3 hours each, were there other documents which Mr. Pritam Singh and Ms. Lim, did they bring along any other documents to this meeting?
Mr. Edwin, Mr. Pritam and Ms. Silva will be called up later on. I believe you can ask them that about this.
No, this is something.
I don't intend to answer that. That's my stand for now.
Mr. Faisal Manap,
Yeah.
you have been called here before the Committee of Privilege to assist us in investigations
Indeed,
so that we can understand the full circumstances behind what has developed.
Yeah.
And these are fair questions to ask because you're all part of the discussions. We are trying to understand whether are there other documents, whether are there other facts that we may not be aware of that would shed more light. So whatever you're able to review, we will ask the questions of them too.
Yeah.
But we would ask the questions of you and to be able to answer as much as you're able to. So thank you very much.
As I mentioned, the document I brought, I already mentioned what the document I brought.
But that wasn't my question.
Yeah.
My question was, what documents did Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim bring to these two meetings, yesterday and the day before, which took place over 2 to 3 hours each?
I'm not going to answer that question. That's my stand.
Let me repeat the question. What documents did Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim bring along to this meeting, yesterday and the day before?
I'm not answering that question.
Mr. Faisal Manap, may I understand why are you declining to respond to that question?
Because firstly, as I mentioned just now, Ms. Silva and Mr. Pritam will be here to answer that question. And I may recall wrongly of the document. I can see, I'm only comfortable of what I feel I can recall correctly about what I've brought to the meeting.
You see, Mr. Faisal,
So I don't want to give a untruth or something which deviated from the truth.
Yes. I don't expect you to speak to any untruth. But it is important to remember that this meeting took place yesterday and the day before, so just over the last 2 days. Secondly, you were there yourself, so you have personal knowledge. Thirdly, each meeting took place over 2 to 3 hours each. So in those circumstances, I think I'm entitled to ask you, from your perspective, what were the documents which Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim brought along to the meeting?
Okay.
Please answer the question.
Mr. Wing, my answer to the question is that I'm privy of what the document I have with me. I'm not privy of what the documents they have with them.
Yes.
That would be my answer.
To the extent that you are aware, did they bring documents to the meeting?
I just want to say that that's what I want to, my reply to you.
Mr. Faisal, to the extent that you are aware, did they bring any documents to the meeting?
Mr. Edwin, I'm not going to answer that question.
Mr. Faisal Manap,
Yes, sir.
earlier I mentioned that you have taken a solemn obligation to answer our questions truthfully. If you refuse to answer our questions directly or attempt to mislead the committee, and such behavior will be an offense and in contempt of this committee.
I understand, sir.
What we're asking of is that in the last 2 days, you've had fairly extensive discussions over 2 to 3 hours. We don't expect you to know perhaps all the fine details, but we're asking you whether were there such documents, what might they possibly be, and in your best opinion, what would that be? And we will verify with the two said persons. So these are fair questions to ask,
Yeah.
and I would expect you to answer them to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir. I did the affirmation where I said that we'll tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and the whole truth. So to avoid from not telling the
And
truth.
to answer our questions directly.
Yes,
and
I'm not
to
here
the
to
best of your
mislead. I'm not here to
knowledge.
mislead. So I said that this is my document, and this is what I have to say.
Understand?
I'm not just.
But let me say this. In the course of discussions, and if the documents you were discussing, dates, issues, we are trying to understand, are there other documents that might have been available that others might have brought to the discussions?
What I can say.
Because that would help us, therefore, also clarify with them further.
Yeah, to me, what I can say is what the document I brought into the meeting.
So you refuse, so will it place on record that you refuse to
Indeed,
answer that
you
question?
can say that, sir.
Noted.
Mr. Faisal, can you please reconsider answering the question? Because it is a very serious problem if you either prevaricate or you refuse to assist this committee. So can you please reconsider?
Mr. Edwin, as I mentioned, I'm not going. I take the information of earlier on. I do not want to mislead. What I'm doing this, but I do not want to mislead the committee. Instead of me trying to say, and I may actually mislead the committee.
Mr. Faisal, all I asked you for repeatedly over the last 10 minutes was from your perspective, from your knowledge, whether they brought documents, and if so, what documents those were, from your perspective.
I'm not going to answer that.
Because you were in a meeting over 2 days, 2 to 3 hours each, sat with them to discuss what must be top of your mind, this inquiry that's going on. It's quite inconceivable that you can't answer from your perspective whether they brought any documents to this meeting, and if so, what those documents
Mr. Edwin, I took my information, and I'm clear that what I've said, and I don't want to mislead if I want to give something which is, not the truth. That's my stand.
No, you must not speak any untruth here, and I think you know
I'm
that.
speaking the truth.
Yes, but I'm also asking you to answer a question from your perspective, and you heard Mr. Chairman say just now that it is a fair question. So please answer the question.
I'm not going to answer that question. As I mentioned to you, the purpose is that I don't want to give any misleading information.
Okay. Do you know if they brought any documents to the meeting? Yes or no?
In terms of, yeah, I think they did bring.
Okay.
They did bring because for their own references.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, possible.
Do you know what those documents are?
As I mentioned just now, I'm not going to answer that question, sir.
Okay, all right. I've asked you several times.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
are you refusing to answer?
Indeed. That's my stand.
Now, did they discuss in the course of the 2 to 3 hours with you each time your chronology or your recollection of the sequence of events? Yes or no?
Mr. Edwin, I'm being called here to talk about issue of Raeesah lying in Parliament. And that's my focus.
Thank you. Now, let me explain to you why I'm asking the question, okay? I sat here for the last 2.5 hours listening to your evidence,
Yes.
And if I may just summarize it very generally, I know there are some details. You are saying there was a conversation on 8th of August.
Yes.
There was a meeting with the CEC on the 29th of October. There was a parliamentary session on the 1st of November when Ms. Khan made her personal explanation. But it seems that there's nothing much that you were privy to in the middle.
Correct.
You recall?
Yeah.
Yes. So I now find out that you came into this inquiry prepared with a note that sets out the sequence of events.
Yes, for me to remember.
Yes.
Yep.
Which I would like to understand how that came about, because if you only had 2 or 3 touch points, 2 or 3 occasions at which you had meetings with Ms. Khan concerning the issue that we are inquiring into today,
Yes.
then it would be odd that you have a note like this, which will require a 2 to 3 hour meeting over 2 days, just before today.
No, the thing is that I prepared the notes on my own. Okay. Not during the meeting that I prepared the notes. It's on my own.
Yes.
Because I was asked that whether I consulted anyone about my notes. I did consult it. Okay. I did ask about whether I got the right date. I can share with you the notes. There's nothing for me to hide.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. But I'm just trying to understand whether or not you were given any input to the sequence of events.
From
Mr. Singh or Ms. Lim?
No, because I mentioned to you, I did my note on my own.
Yes.
I wrote it.
And so what was discussed at this 2 to 3 hour meeting?
That's the things that, okay, we did discuss about the issue of Raeesah as a whole, all right? Trying to basically recall back, because here we were supposed to meet up with the committee. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I don't want to go much into the detail of the meeting.
What do you mean by Raeesah as a whole? Can you explain?
No, I do not want to go much into the meeting, because the focus here, as I mentioned to you just now, I'm here to answer to the question posed by the committee about the lie. And here I am presenting myself as a witness.
Which I appreciate, Mr. Faisal. But you see, I'm trying to understand the facts fully.
Yes, I'm giving you the facts.
Yes. And you...
And the facts is coming from me.
Let me finish. No, I think we have this rule, right? Let's not speak over each other. So we have the facts, but the relevant sequence of events need to come out. And I'm trying to understand whether or not there was material which perhaps you have forgotten, which Mr. Singh or Ms. Lim may have reminded you about, or whether you discussed, and you did say that you discussed Ms. Khan as a whole and spent 2 to 3 hours on each day twice over the last 2 days. So I'm just trying to understand whether or not the evidence you're giving today is influenced by that discussion, or whether or not it is entirely your own recollection.
It's my recollection. I put it on writing. As I mentioned to you, I confirm and confidently say that it's mine.
Yes, I have no reason to doubt you on this,
but
Mr. Faisal.
Sorry, Mr. Amin, but the way you asked me repeatedly, I felt that you are basically not...
I am trying to be as thorough as I can to understand the substratum of facts which give rise to the sequence of events and which also support the evidence that you've given today. That's my objective, okay? Yeah. So please don't misinterpret or don't read anything else into it. Now, this note, did Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh give you any comments to it? Did they talk about your note?
Mr. Wing, I mentioned to you that this is my notes, all right? So I believe you want to ask me about the issue that what we are discussing right now.
Please answer my question, Mr. Faisal. I'm not asking you whether you prepared the note. I told you I believe you on this.
Yeah.
My question is, and listen carefully, did Mr. Singh or Ms. Lim give you any comments on this note?
No, I just checked with them the dates. That's it.
And did they help you with the dates?
According to what they remember, just the dates.
Yes, right. So they shared their own recollection with you and you discussed it.
Okay.
Correct?
Basically, as I mentioned, this is what I wrote and asked them whether I got the sequence right.
Okay. So you did discuss the sequence with them, and you did discuss
The
dates
date
with them.
itself. The content-wise, I'm very sure it's supposed to become from me. I don't want to be influenced by anyone else because this is what I said. This is my words. I don't believe in trying to change it because someone trying to influence me or of giving some other details.
Of course.
Yeah, and I understand that is my responsibility.
Of course,
I have to
Mr.
present my own records, my own finding to the committee.
Yes, Mr. Faisal, and just to be clear to you, I'm not suggesting otherwise. I'm
But
just trying
the
to
way,
understand the
sorry,
facts.
Mr. Lim, but the way I got it from you, you're just implying that.
I'm not at all.
If I may interject, Mr. Faisal Manap, if in the course of the last 2 days, yourself, Mr. Pritam Singh and Mr. William met to discuss, to just make sure you get the details right, in preparation for the interviews with the Committee of Privilege, these are relevant materials. We are just asking to ascertain. There's no accusation being made.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just take it at face value. The questions are posed, respond as best as you can, and we carry on from there. Thank you.
So could you make available the documents that you have with you, the sequence of events, as well as your notes of the DP inquiry? Can you make that available to the Secretariat for
sure.
copies to be given
Sure.
to us?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. The reason, one of the other reasons I go into this, Mr. Faisal, is because it seems to me that you, as one of the most senior members of the Workers' Party, from the messages I see, you also are regarded as somewhat of a confidant of Ms. Khan, especially on Malay-Muslim issues. And you're also on the CEC of the Workers' Party.
Yes.
The evidence that you have given puts across a picture of you having almost little to no involvement in what is a huge issue as far as integrity, honesty, and transparency is concerned.
Yeah. It is the case.
Yes. And I'm trying to understand why. Because it strikes me that as a senior member of the Workers' Party, let alone CEC member and so on, someone in your position would have wanted to be interested in knowing what's going on with your party.
Yeah.
And on an issue as grave and serious as this, would you not agree?
It's fair in general. It's fair.
So, to be very honest with you, as I was watching you give evidence to Mr. Lee, what piqued my interest about your note there and your construction of a sequence of events is how is it that you don't really have much involvement,
Yes.
but could spend some time preparing a sequence of events? It strikes me that there is perhaps something that you might need to refresh yourself over.
No, that's what I say. I'm willing to
Let
share
me
with
finish.
you
Hold
the.
on. Let me finish, Mr. Faisal. Let's not speak over each other, okay? I'm just trying to see whether I can be of assistance to you and help you look at the memo and ask you whether there are any other occasions in there besides those dates that I mentioned, which you might now recollect. So please do take a look at the note.
This is here with me.
Okay. So let's start with what you said about the 8th of August.
Yes.
So you were concerned with Ms. Khan's speech earlier about female genital mutilation and
Yes,
polygamous
yep.
marriages,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes. And so we saw earlier an exhibit which contains Ms. Khan's Facebook publication on the 8th of
Yes.
August, right? Let me summarize your evidence from earlier. You told us that you went into this meeting focused on this issue, FGM and polygamous marriages, and you were very keen to ensure that there was a clarification.
Yes.
Correct? And she then accounted to you about her own sexual assault experience,
Yes.
and you were, in your words, overwhelmed by it,
Yes.
right? And you said that she had broken down and she was crying.
Yes.
Those were your words, right? Okay. Now, would you accept that she took on board your suggestions, yours and probably Mr. Singh's and Ms. Lim's suggestions from the meeting, and went back and prepared the note
Suggestion on?
on what that note on FGM and polygamous
on the,
marriages.
on the FGM and polygamy.
Yes.
Yeah, we basically we did mention to her that it's you who needs to come up with a
Yes.
statement and
But you
show
would
it
have
to
given
us.
her suggestions, right?
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah.
You earlier on in response to Mr. Lee's question, you said that at one stage Ms. Khan had calmed down, and then
Yeah.
you were able to proceed to discuss
Yes.
the MM issues, right?
Yes.
Right. At that point in time when she had calmed down, did you discuss with her what relevant issues might arise, the views from the ground, how she should tackle any clarification, and so on? Did
Okay,
you?
basically that has been done throughout from the 3rd to before we met. So there's a WhatsApp communication between me and her,
Yes.
updating her about the what I call it the comment from the committee and what I responded.
Understand. Mr. Faisal,
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off on this time, but I'm focused on the 8th of August. I know you have a preceding line of
Yeah.
messages with
Yeah.
her, but I'm
Okay,
focused
on
on
the
the
8th of August, I recall that we just wanted to come out with the statement
Yes.
and to address the concern of the community.
And you would have given her suggestions as to how to come up with a statement and to address the concerns of the community. Correct?
I did get, as I mentioned earlier to Minister, okay, I did told her about need to put the point of where she's not against Islamic teaching. Yes.
Okay, right. And in your view, she did so, right? Eventually with her post.
No, she omitted the thing. She
omitted.
didn't put up the thing.
But she put up a post thereafter on the same day, right?
Yes.
And that was the consensus that you had reached on that at that meeting, right? That she should put up a
she
post.
followed with the WhatsApp after she came after we left. She came out.
Let me. I'm not talking about any WhatsApps here yet,
Yeah.
so don't jump ahead of me.
I'm sorry about that.
I am talking about a Facebook post.
Yes.
At the meeting, you discussed for her to put up a further clarification or a clarification
Correct.
concerning FGM and polygamy
Yes.
to address concerns of the community,
Correct.
which you had shared with her.
Yes.
the meeting.
Few days ago. I mean,
Few days ago and also at the meeting.
not much of the meeting, lah.
Much of the meeting.
Yeah, because I just told her about the concern that we have shared.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. So she went back and she then drafted the post.
Indeed.
Did you see the draft?
Yeah, she WhatsApp to me.
Yes. Did you give comments?
Yes.
Did you exchange comments several times?
Yes.
And then thereafter she posted it, right?
Yes.
With your comments or taking on board your comments.
She didn't agree with me when I told her to put the statement where she against.
Yeah.
She's not against the because the thing that I told her that okay, whatever is yours, but I prefer you to put this. But if you choose not to put it, and it's supposed to be her own words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, it has to be her own words.
Yeah.
But you would, and she would be entitled to say, I accept some, but not accept some
Yes, indeed.
of your suggestions,
Yes.
right? Which must be the reasons why you were exchanging text after text
Correct.
on comments, right?
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. You also gave us the impression that she was very affected by this incident, and in fact wanted to resign as a result of this incident.
Yeah, correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Now, I'd like you to pick up this bundle. You were referred to it earlier, the quite a thick bundle. That this is given to us by Ms. Loh Pei-ying of the messages that were exchanged between herself and Ms. Ms. Khan and Mr. Yudhishthranathan.
Okay.
Do you have it, Mr.
Yeah, I
Faisal?
do, but
Yes.
which page is
Okay,
it?
yeah, I know it's a very substantial bundle. Can you please turn to page 21? You'll see the page numbers on the bottom right-hand side.
Yes,
Do you have it?
I'm on
Okay.
page 21.
So just for context first, you know Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan, right?
I do know them, but not close to them.
Okay, but you know that they are A, cadre members of the Workers' Party, correct?
Yes.
And B, they are also activists who support Ms. Khan in her ward at Sengkang, correct?
Correct.
You would also know that these two activists are close to Ms. Khan, right?
I only know they're very close when we interviewed them during the DP. I mean, before that, I know they're supporting her.
Okay, all right, thank you. Meaning they work closely with her, they would discuss her social media postings with her.
Yes, that's my
they
general
discuss her
understanding.
speeches with her, right?
That's my general understanding.
Okay. So this is a WhatsApp group that has the three of them together.
Okay.
So you will see, beginning from around the middle of the page at page 21, that they start having a discussion very early in the morning or late at night, depending on how you look at it, at 12 a.m.
Okay.
Right? Then you just quickly scroll down and go to the next page, and you will see very briefly that sometime in the late morning, at around the time that you had the meeting with Ms. Khan at Mr. Singh's home, Loh Pei-ying says, there's nothing wrong with your values and belief. There's nothing wrong with you standing for it. She goes on to say, what's wrong is people want you to change it and concede to something you don't stand for. So her advice, so just let the yabber away. And she goes on to say, this Muslim community thing, it'll pass. Honestly, remember, it's only Compassvale or Sengkang that matters. And she then says, I spent the morning reading FB, which is, I think, is Facebook, and the support for your speech, Ray, is just as loud as the voices against it. So that's something that would convey to Ms. Khan that the comments on her speech were not one-sided against her, right?
The comments on her speech from the
the general community and on the social media community.
Okay, correct.
Were not one-sided
based on the
against her.
WhatsApp.
Based on this, yes.
Okay.
This is Ms. Khan reading it, and so this is the impression she would get, right? Yeah. Right. And I think if you correlate that to the evidence you gave earlier, it is around this time that she would have gone to meet with you and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim.
11.
Around that time, right?
11
Yes.
a.m. Yeah.
Okay. Then you go over the page to page 23. Ms. Khan then emerges from the meeting with you, and you mentioned earlier that the meeting was from 11 to about 12 or so, right?
Yes.
So at 12:41, Ms. Khan then writes to Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan, and this is the WhatsApp message that Mr. Lee took you to earlier, okay? And I would like you to look at the last, the message after that. And she says, these past few days have been filled with lots of reflection on my part. I've thought about my role as a member of parliament and as a Muslim woman. I don't think these identities are separate, and both are important parts of who I am today. I have read many opinions from both sides. This is at 12:42 p.m.
Yes.
Right as she steps away from the meeting that she had with you at Mr. Singh's home, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree? Maybe I'll ask you to look at a few more messages. So go down the page. She then says at 12:47, 5 minutes later, I think I want to share that I'm a Muslim woman and no one can take that away from me. And if you go over the page, several other suggestions from Ms. Loh and Yudish, who at 12:49 says, honestly, don't really need to explain yourself. Rightfully, I feel. And so on. So, Mr. Faisal.
Yes.
Right after coming out from this meeting, Ms. Khan, at least based on these messages to her close associates, makes a very bold statement, very stout statement. I am a Muslim woman, and no one can take that away from me.
Yeah.
She's proud of that fact and standing by it, correct?
Based on
this.
Yes.
Do you see anywhere in the immediate aftermath of the meeting with you that Ms. Khan was affected by the discussion or that she had expressed any desire to resign to her closest associates?
Based on
these messages?
No.
No. In fact, your view was that she should not resign, correct?
Yes.
You had expressed that to her, correct?
Yes.
You had quoted her several religious phrases
correct.
to support her
correct.
psychologically, correct? And you must have formed that view because not only were you supporting her with religious phrases to give her moral support, I assume, which is
Yes.
very good of you, but also because you believe that she had a role to play in a workers' party, correct?
Yeah, she's an MP.
Yes.
Yes.
And that she can continue being an MP, correct?
Yes.
Which is why you said, don't resign, that's your view, correct?
Yes.
And you felt that she had a role to play also to serve her residents in the capacity as a Workers' Party MP, correct?
Yes.
And so, when you give your perception of, or your sense of what happened on the 8th of August meeting, I think one has to look at it in conjunction with what she shared privately with her own close associates, and also with the view that you form, correct?
The view that I form
on whether she should resign or not.
The resign came, the resign, the one I mentioned.
Maybe answer my question, then you can elaborate.
No,
let me
because there's a bit of incorrectness in terms of the sequence of your question, because the resign came much later. It's not related to this particular
let's take it step by step.
Scenario.
Let's take it step by step. Would you agree that your description of how she came across at the meeting on the 8th of August with you has also to be looked in the context of her private expressions with her two closest associates, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And we agreed earlier that in none of those discussions based on WhatsApp was there any expression of a desire to resign,
Yes.
correct? Nor, I would put it to you, based on what we saw earlier, was there any feeling of doubt concerning what she has put out from a Muslim perspective, correct?
From the WhatsApp, yes.
In fact, as we saw, she stoutly defends the position, correct?
Yeah, agree.
Yes. And concerning a desire to resign, you talked about a time frame. So let's look at the time frame. The relevant period for consideration, obviously, which eventually led to her resigning, would obviously be the speech she made in Parliament on the 3rd of August as a starting point, because the falsehoods were there, all the way through to the 30th of November when she did resign.
Okay.
Right.
As I mentioned, so sorry.
Wait, answer my question first.
I cannot answer.
The relevant period.
I need to say that something's not right with your what you've
My
mentioned
question.
to me. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what's not right.
Because I did mention to Minister Desmond early on that during the DP second meeting, she did mention to us that point in time where she felt very affected by the issue of the FGC and polygamy. She felt that she's going to become a liability.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where that's in particular she felt like she want to resign because of she felt she's becoming a liability due to these two.
So the time frame
issues.
is the August period, because she made the speech in August, right? So those two issues arise in August, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me maybe simplify it for you, Mr. Faisal, so we are clear. Your expression to her that she should not resign came after August, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, you also will know that right after this meeting on the 8th of August, Ms. Khan proceeded to serve her residents, attend functions, events,
Yes.
as per normal, right?
Yes.
Did you think that there was anything unusual in the way in which she discharged her responsibilities and her duties as an MP to her residents?
I can't say much about that because I wasn't there. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know she does continue her. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as you were aware of, did you think that there was anything, or did you hear about anything being unusual?
Nothing.
Nothing, right? She attended NDP and you were there as well, correct?
Yes.
On that occasion, did she tell you that she wants to resign?
No.
She was selected as a member of the Interparliamentary Assembly. Were you aware?
Only where after she put up, I think, a posting or something.
Posting,
like that.
yeah. And she attended the committee meeting on political matters for the 42nd ASEAN Interparliamentary Assembly.
Yeah.
I think that's the post that you refer to, right?
Should be.
Yes. You also be aware, and I think she's made this public, that she also, in fact, covered Professor James Lim's MPS duties, right?
Yeah, I think when he was away.
He was away.
Yeah.
This would be on the 23rd of August.
I'm not so sure about the date.
But it will be
But
around
I know
August.
that there's a. I understand that she did cover James.
Yes. And that is in addition to her own MPS, which also resumed around that period of time, right?
Which I believe so.
Yes. So, usual activities, responsibilities as an MP, just so that we are clear, I know we both do
Yes.
it, would be market visits, house visits, and
I can't see in detail what are the activities, but I know
But these would be-
she does. She did her.
this
part
would be
of
what
the time.
you know that she does, right?
I do not know about that. I just know that she does. She resumed her MP's duty. That's all.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
And you
detail-wise, I'm not so sure.
okay, and fair enough. And you didn't hear anything unusual or
yeah.
untoward, right?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's go back to the 8th of August again.
Okay.
You said earlier that the discussion on the FGM and the polygamy was a short discussion. You exchanged some views.
Yeah.
Or was there more than that? Can you tell me?
I cannot exactly recall when, the details.
Okay.
Yeah, to be honest. Yeah.
But was it a long discussion, short discussion? Was it a heated discussion? Was it a...
Obviously, it's not any. There's no anger, no heated discussion.
on the polygamy issues?
Yeah, because I mentioned that much earlier we have kind of like discussed or give her my point of view of the whole thing. Yeah.
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 So actually, that's right, Mr. Faisal. That's the point I was getting to. That actually the 8th of August, as far as the FGM and the polygamy issues, the meeting on the 8th of August was really a culmination of discussion, topics, comments that you have already initiated with Ms. Khan over several days, correct?
Yeah, in a way to come to a agreement of you need to come up with a statement. Yeah.
Meaning it was not raised for the first time on the 8th of August. It was a culmination of several discussions along the way, right?
Okay. Can I go back to the point where I discussed with Raeesah? Okay, basically from the 3rd, right, after her speech until the 8th, is more of my what I call it, my observation of the social media posting, as well as my personal views, how I responded, because I did receive a lot of query on that.
I understand. And my point is, all of this was your personal views and the community views was all shared with Ms. Khan before the 8th of August, right?
Yes.
Right. So it's not as if you need to discuss that afresh, correct?
We need to discuss on the statement, basically.
Yeah, what to do.
Basically.
But these
She
issues,
need to come up with a statement.
your views,
Correct.
community views,
Correct.
she already knew,
Correct.
right? Okay. So, if that was the case, what else did you spend the rest of the time at the meeting discussing?
Okay, as I mentioned just now, we are focusing after she confessed of her being. Okay, there's the major part of the discussion that happened that day to console and basically to listen to her and give her support. Yes.
Okay.
That comprise. I mean that basically take up much of the time.
Okay. But you would accept that she also made a confession to you, Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim, that what she said in Parliament on the 3rd of August was false, right?
Yes.
This, to be clear, would be the falsehood that she spoke about in connection with that anecdote that she used to support her speech.
Yes.
About accompanying a sexual assault victim to make a police report, right? Which never happened.
Yes.
Would you agree that that anecdote, if true, would cast a bad light on the police?
Sorry again?
Would you agree that that anecdote, if true,
Yeah.
would cast a bad light on the
Yeah,
police?
in general, if you make an untruth call, it does going to have a bad light.
Yes. And untruth is bad enough.
Yeah.
But in this case, the untruth relates to the reaction of the police to a sexual assault victim making a police report.
Yeah.
So if that story or the anecdote was true, it would put the police in a very bad light, right?
Again, if you just, can you repeat that part?
Okay, sure.
Sorry about that.
I rephrase it.
I'm starting to lose my concentration.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I understand. If that story or the anecdote that Ms. Khan spoke about in Parliament was true, people would think badly of the police, right?
Oh, yes, correct.
Yes. And the reason for that is because they would think that the police don't treat sexual assault victims properly, right?
That's the impression the public gonna get.
Yes.
Yes.
And at the same time, sexual assault victims would also be worried about making a report to the police if that anecdote was true, correct?
Yes.
And on top of this, lying in Parliament is a very serious problem, right?
Agree.
In fact, it might be an offense, correct?
Agree.
And you would also appreciate, I mean, we came into Parliament at the same time, so you would regard yourself as one of the most senior members of the Workers' Party as an MP, serving your third term. You would appreciate the gravity of that situation, correct?
Indeed.
And would you also accept that either lying in Parliament or allowing a lie to be perpetuated in Parliament, both are just as bad, correct?
Indeed. Yes, correct.
If you know of a true fact which would correct a deception on Parliament, then keeping quiet is also a problem, correct?
Indeed.
It would also possibly amount to an offense, correct?
Indeed.
And so when Ms. Khan made this confession to you and to Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim, there must have been a very serious reaction from all three of you, correct?
Can you elaborate more what you mean by serious reaction?
Okay, sure. You must have been very alarmed that one of your MPs had now come and told you that she had spoken an untruth in Parliament. Correct?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, do you agree?
No, as I mentioned earlier to Minister Desmond Lee, that myself are overwhelmed. And I give the sequence where, let's say if my daughter were to...
I understand.
Yeah,
I don't think you need to repeat that.
Yeah.
But I'm now focused on the fact that, yes, we are all, and I think quite rightly, very sympathetic to the experience, not just of Ms. Khan, but of any sexual assault victim. But at the same time, I think as an experienced member of Parliament, as one of the leaders of the Workers' Party, the immediate other issue that you would be very aware of is that there is a serious problem in telling a lie to Parliament.
Yes.
And now, as of the 8th of August, you and two other very senior members of the Workers' Party are aware.
Yes.
So my question is, when you found out about that, despite being overwhelmed with sympathy, which is quite right, you must also have been quite alarmed that this has happened.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And the alarm stems from the fact that a lie has been told in Parliament.
Yes.
Right? And that lie, besides being a lie and a deception on Parliament, also impacts police and sexual assault victims. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. So it's a issue that must have struck you almost immediately, that there's a lie, it's a big problem, it has impact on police and sexual assault victims. Correct?
Yes.
Now, in that context, what was discussed between yourself, Mr. Singh, and Ms. Lim once you heard and knew of the confession by Ms. Khan?
So, sorry, mean our discussion on the issue of the lie?
Well, let me paint the scenario for you.
Okay.
So you are at Mr. Singh's home.
Yeah.
Ms. Khan has made some confessions,
Yes.
one of which is her own experience, for
Yes.
which you felt sympathetic, and the other is the confession or admission to a very serious problem in Parliament, a
Yes.
lie in Parliament. So my question is, and I know what you said to my colleague, Mr. Lee, on
Yes.
the sexual assault experience. My question is, what was discussed between the three of you and Ms. Khan concerning the lie in Parliament?
As I mentioned to Mr. Lee earlier on, we did not touch further on that thing because the focus at that point in time was more on her well-being. And basically, when Pritam asked her that, whether has she told her parents, that become actually a very a grave, a concern to us.
Has she told her parents the lie, or has she told her parents the assault?
Sorry, sexual assault. Sorry about that.
So, are you suggesting that there was no reaction whatsoever upon being told that there was a lie spoken in Parliament just a few days before that?
That's why I come back to the point where I explained to...
No, please, Mr. Faisal. I think it's important to answer the question directly, and then you can give your explanation, if you like. Okay? So let me repeat again, okay? I'll just... I said, are you suggesting that there was no reaction whatsoever from all three of you upon being told that there was a lie spoken in Parliament just a few days before that?
Yeah, because I personally was overwhelmed. Because the sequence I mentioned is the sequence that, she just, first thing she got assaulted.
Yes.
And lied.
So this was the sequence that took place on the 8th of August.
Yes.
Sequence meaning the sequence of who said what?
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
The sequence of who said what at the meeting on the 8th of August. Is that what you're saying?
What Raeesah said to us.
No, when you mentioned sequence earlier, you mean the sequence of how she told you and your reaction. Correct?
My reaction.
Yours and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim's reactions.
Yeah.
Is that what you refer to when you use the word sequence?
No, the sequence of what she said.
Mm-hmm.
How she break the news. Okay, basically she said that she's a sexual assault victim.
Yes, we heard that. No,
yeah,
we heard that.
That's what I meant. That's the sequence that I'm referring to.
Okay, I'm referring to your reaction.
Yeah.
What was your reaction?
As I mentioned, I was shocked because I was overwhelmed by the first statement that she made.
So let me be clear. Okay, I heard in detail your evidence earlier, and I don't need to revisit that.
Yeah.
I'm focused on whether you or Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh had any reaction to her admission that she had lied in Parliament just a few days before that.
Mr. Win, as mentioned just now, we were overwhelmed by the first statement. And as I mentioned, as a human being, can I be overwhelmed by certain things? Suddenly I changed to become like, why are you lying?
Okay, no,
No, because you asked me whether there's a change of reaction.
Mr. Faisal.
Yeah.
Okay, perhaps I put it this way. We all have a range of emotions.
All right.
But we also have responsibilities.
Indeed.
And in the meeting that day are amongst the most, if not the most senior of leadership in the Workers' Party.
Yes.
And you are faced with an admission by one of your colleagues, a fellow MP,
yes,
that a lie has been spoken in Parliament.
Yes.
Yes, there is a experience that she has also recounted about her own self.
Yes.
For which sympathy was felt.
Yes.
But I find it surprising that there was just no reaction whatsoever from any of you to a confession to you that a lie has been spoken in Parliament. Can you explain why that is the case?
Can I go back to the sequence when Raeesah mentioned about the sexual assault? Okay, we'll overwhelm. You're right. As a senior member of Workers' Party and as MP, one of the senior MP in Workers' Party, not only do I have my concern on the party and the lie that she said, but also I do have my concern on her. And as what has been stated by Ms. Han, and I think this was mentioned by Minister Desmond Lee, that she trusted me. She trusts me.
Okay.
So on that basis, okay, there's some form of understanding between me and her. And of course, my compassion will be, my evaluation at the point in time that I need to address that issue first. I need to prioritize and address the issue of her
Yeah. I understand, Mr.
sharing
Faisal.
with me that difficult part of what she went through.
Yeah, I understand, Mr. Faisal. I mean,
Yes.
like you said, and I put it in your own words,
Yeah.
part of you was concerned for her personally, as you say you're a bit of
Yeah.
a mentor to her,
Yeah.
look after her. But you're also concerned about your party.
Yes,
Right, as
as
you
a
said.
senior member, there's also a concern. Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to address that latter part. What
Yes.
did you do about that concern?
As I mentioned, I was overwhelmed by the first concern.
Were you so
my
overwhelmed
priority-
that you could not say anything at all to the reaction, to the admission that she had lied?
This is the truth I'm telling you. I don't know where you're leading me towards, but I feel that this, what I've been saying, the truth, that I feel overwhelmed.
I'm leading you to the truth. So,
I'm telling the truth.
okay.
You do not. Sorry, Mr. Edwin. I can't
I just-
get it. I say you're leading me to the truth.
Yes, I just want the
As though,
truth to be here.
sorry to say, as though you know the truth.
No, I'm trying to
Instead,
get
I'm
the,
telling the truth.
I'm trying to get the truth from you, Mr. Faisal. I wasn't there, and it is
I
our
already
job to
said
inquire.
to Minister Desmond Lee earlier on.
So, bear with us, right? We
Thank
have
you.
to
I'm sorry about that.
not just ask questions, but
Yeah.
the reason we ask Mr. Faisal is because we have to not just make a finding, but we have to give a reason and a basis. Okay? So I hope you understand when I ask you questions that surround not just what you said, but why you said, why you didn't say,
Yeah.
what was your reaction.
Understand.
It is really to understand the basis of findings that we will be making eventually. Okay?
Understand that?
So I go back to my point. The reason I asked you those questions earlier, and I'm not trying to trick you, okay, Mr. Faisal. I am trying to say your state of mind as a seasoned senior member of Workers' Party,
Yes.
reacting in the way that I think we all do when we are told that there's an untruth spoken in Parliament.
Yeah.
Very serious. Impacting police and behavior of sexual assault victims. When you're told about that, even though I understand the fact that you're overwhelmed and you're very affected by what she had said about her own experience, which I understand, and I think it's good that you were there for her as well. But I also have to address my mind to what is the reaction to the other part of her admission, which I think is also very serious.
Yeah.
Would you not agree? Also very serious, right?
It's a fair thing for you to ask me. Yes, I do agree.
So, this meeting that took place on the 8th of August started at about 11, you said, went on till about 12, so
Yeah.
an hour plus. Are you saying that in the entire period of time, apart from Ms. Khan speaking about the admission that she lied in Parliament, no other words were spoken by you or Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh about this issue at all,
Issue of the lie.
of the lie?
Yes.
Not a single word was then spoken.
Yes, because we are concerned about we have. For me, I prioritize the focus on the issue of her distress.
Okay.
Based on her confession. After she got distressed, after she made the confession about she's being.
What about Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim?
I'm overwhelmed to the extent that I don't really look around. The meaning of overwhelmed that I'm stunned, and I don't have the time to look around and looking at.
You see, it's a meeting.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed, yeah.
I think you know where I'm coming
Yeah.
from. It's a meeting at
Yeah.
Mr. Singh's home.
Yeah, because I don't really
Yeah.
looking at Mr. Singh, looking like, what's your reaction?
I know, but-
I don't do that.
I mean, I assume it's not such a big room or
No, we're
wherever
sitting
you were.
on the dining table. I
Yes.
mean, the dining area.
So within a very clear line of sight of each other, and you were talking about an issue that,
Yes, that's my nature
You
because
see,
I'm
Mr.
a
Faisal,
counselor.
yeah,
A counselor need to focus on what is being presented.
okay.
And if you see that I maintain my eye contact with you throughout,
Yeah.
unless I need to recall something.
I
So
know.
that is my way of focusing.
But you wear several hats, Mr. Faisal. You're a councillor
Indeed,
by
indeed,
profession,
indeed.
but you're also a fellow member of parliament and a senior leader of
Yes.
Workers' Party.
Yes, as a senior member of the Workers' Party, I do have my concern about the well-being of a younger
Yes,
MP who trusted me.
Yes, I understand all that, and I think we agree. Yeah, she
Yes.
trusted you. She saw you as her mentor. She would listen to you, and she reached out to you on occasion for assistance, right? Correct? Yes. So,
But we're not as close, lah. I mean, we're not close in that sense. Yeah, I can say that
but
she once in a while consult me. Yeah.
yes, but I think we got it on the transcript
Yeah.
earlier. So let's focus on the second part of what she said,
Okay.
because I mean, to be honest with you, I think it is somewhat surprising that an admission is made like this by a fellow member of parliament about a hearing that, a sitting that just took place a few days ago,
Yeah.
that there was a lie, and we all appreciate the gravity of a lie and a deception on parliament,
Yeah.
especially in the context of police reaction to sexual assault victims. So I find it hard to follow why there was just no reaction whatsoever from any of the three of you who were present.
Understand.
Is there any other explanation that's possible?
This is what I recall, and this is what I've shared to you is what happened. Yeah.
So, this meeting, when it ended, did Ms. Khan leave the meeting first?
Yeah, I think she left the meeting first, and Pritam let her out, followed by me and Sylvia. We go out at the same time, but there's a distance between us. Yeah, we don't go out as a group.
So, did you discuss with Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh
No,
at all?
no.
So, you left all in silence and
Yes.
there was no discussion?
There's no discussion on the lie, but of course, as I mentioned now, at the meeting we did discuss about, okay, she needs to come up with a statement for the FGC and the polygamy. Yeah.
But by the time the meeting ended, I
Yeah.
think Ms. Khan was fairly, I mean, your words composed,
Yeah.
able to talk about the statement, and we saw her messages immediately after the meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, coming back to the second part of her admission, are you saying that whilst you were at Mr. Singh's home on the 8th of August, there was no discussion with your fellow Workers' Party leadership on this,
On this, we're referring to?
the lies
Yeah,
in
no.
Parliament?
No.
Not a single word.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And when you finished this meeting on the 8th of August,
Yes.
you would, despite being overwhelmed by Ms. Khan's sexual assault experience, you would have, at some stage, registered that, hey, there was something else that was very serious that she told us at the meeting, right?
Registered mean saying it to myself.
Meaning you would have remembered, you would have recalled, it would have dawned on you
Yeah.
that there was something else very serious that
Yeah.
she told you, right?
Yep.
When was that?
No, I mean, throughout, I do understand that as I mentioned, the priority was based on her well-being, but I do understand throughout that, the issue has not been addressed.
No, Mr. Faisal, I'm asking a different question. I'm saying after the meeting finished.
Yeah.
Because you told us,
Okay.
hang on, you told us very clearly that throughout the time at the meeting, after she uttered those words, none of you discussed it, and there
Yes.
was zero discussion on it, correct?
Yes.
Do I characterize your evidence correctly?
Correct.
Zero evidence on it. Not a word was spoken about it
Correct.
by any of you.
Yes, I recall.
Not
yes.
a question was asked at all whatsoever.
Yes, not us to her.
Okay. Amongst yourselves?
No.
Also
No,
not.
We did. Oh, sorry, that one was about whether Pritam did ask about who else knows about. So it's different. Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, zero.
Zero.
So now I'm at the stage after the meeting.
Okay.
And I said at some stage after the meeting, it would have dawned on you or registered to you that there was this something else that was very important, which Ms. Khan confessed. Right?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I've that in my mind. Yeah.
Okay. When was that?
No, it's always been in my mind that there's another issue that, that we did not address.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in your mind, when did you go and address it?
I did not address at all. I did not address it at all because
You didn't think about it at all?
I did not address it at all. I know there's no closure to that discussion. Okay, but I did not pursue in any way, whether with Raeesah, Pritam, or Sylvia, about this thing because, as I mentioned to Minister earlier on, that I trust, being a senior member of the Workers' Party, and I've been with Pritam and Sylvia for the past 10 years as MP colleague, and more with Sylvia because I joined the party in 2006. I have the trust that, Pritam, who knows Raeesah better, among the two of us, will take the right step. And the trust that Raeesah has in me, right, I also trusted that she will do the same thing, the right thing.
Okay. So, let's break it down a bit. You left the meeting.
Yes.
You didn't thereafter discuss the issue of the lie with either Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh?
Yes.
At all?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
And you therefore wouldn't know, let me rephrase this, and because you didn't discuss with them at all, you therefore would not know if they have dealt with the problem, correct?
Okay, can you repeat that? This one, sorry.
Since you didn't discuss it with them at all after the meeting,
okay,
or even at the meeting, you would have no idea if either Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh addressed the problem, correct?
Yes, correct.
But you accept that it is a problem that has to be addressed, correct?
Yes.
In fact, it's a very serious problem, correct?
Yes.
In your own mind, would it have to be addressed?
Yes, that's why I say I trust Pritam and Raeesah, whom she trusted me, she trusts me, to know what is the right thing to do.
Okay. So, in your mind, what steps should have been taken to address it?
She should come clean. She should admit, put the record straight. I mean, correct the record, what she has mentioned on the 3rd of August.
Okay. When?
Throughout.
When should she come and do it?
Okay, basically, that's the part where I
answer my question.
Yes, I'm answering your question, Mr. Edwin.
When?
When is because the point of the time frame or the timeline, I leave it to Pritam, because Pritam need to make a judgment based on her assessment of Raeesah's condition.
Right. So, you say you didn't discuss anything with either of them.
Yes.
But somehow you know.
That is my assumption.
Let me finish.
Them. Yeah,
let me
sorry.
finish. You say, and I think you're trying to preempt my question, because you saw the logical
I'm not
gap.
preempting.
You saw the logical
I'm
gap.
not preempting.
You see, if you didn't discuss with them at all, period, 0, you say, how then would you know that Mr. Singh would only allow Ms. Khan to come forward when the assessment is she's okay to do so? How would you know that?
I mentioned to you earlier on that we have been party colleagues and MPs for the past 10 years. We know our style, we know each of us character. So, based on that, of course, we'll come to my assumption that Pritam will do what is need to be done, and the trust that Raeesah will do the right thing.
You said, in answer to my question, when I asked you when, you said, I leave it to Pritam because Pritam needs to make a judgment based on his assessment of Raeesah's condition.
Yes. I did not communicate that I leave it to you, Pritam. But personally, that's my thoughts, that I will leave it to Pritam to manage this case.
You
and
see,
based on his judgment.
Yeah, Mr. Faisal, for someone to come to that conclusion, you need several steps. Behind that statement that you just made, there are several steps that need to be taken before you reach the conclusion.
But what do you suggest several steps?
Okay, the steps are, number 1, it's a serious problem.
Indeed,
number 2,
I agree.
Number 2, there needs to be a clarification. Number 3.
Clarification on?
About the lie.
Oh, about from Raeesah herself.
Yes.
Herself, okay.
And number 3, Mr. Singh needs to make a judgment. Number 4, there has to be an assessment of Raeesah's condition.
Yes.
How is it that you can form this view of Mr. Singh if you don't communicate with him about this issue at all?
As mentioned earlier, we have been colleagues for 10 years.
Have you ever had another occasion when a member of parliament lied in parliament? Mr. Manap, Mr. Faisal, I beg your pardon.
Sorry, again?
Have you ever had an occasion previously where a Workers' Party MP lied in parliament?
I didn't recall of someone who lied in parliament.
During your term?
Okay, what I can recall is personally about myself.
Let me...
Yeah.
I don't need to ask you those questions. I just want to ask you very clearly, in your 11 years or so in parliament, during the time that you say you know Mr. Singh very well, in that period of time, were you aware of any other occasion where a member of parliament spoke an untruth in parliament?
Basically, I recall the time where Pritam was alleged to be saying that he plagiarized.
Yes.
That particular,
I think we know where we're coming from. I want to know whether there's another previous occasion that is similar to Ms. Khan's occasion when there was an outright lie which affects the proceedings in parliament directly and which affects the police and sexual assault victims. Yes or no?
No.
Was there another
sorry,
occasion?
I misunderstood that part.
Okay. Was there another occasion when a fellow member of parliament came to you to make a confession about having experienced a sexual assault personally?
No.
So these are two important but completely new scenarios, Mr. Faisal, right?
Indeed.
And you were told about this on the first occasion, on the 8th of August, all of these events, the lie as well as the sexual assault. Correct?
Yes.
In your entire experience with Mr. Singh, neither of you have experienced this in the party, correct?
Yes.
And so to say that you would be able to tell that Mr. Singh will sort the problem out by making the clarification, but make a judgment on Raeesah's condition, you could not have reached that understanding without having discussed it with him, right?
That is me. That's what I've told you is me. I trust someone. Okay, I've known him for 10 years. Based on that 10 years, I believe he will do the right thing.
Yes, we all can say that, but remember I told you that we also have to understand the basis of why you have that belief, right? And
yes, because the basis that I've worked with him for 10 years.
But you also know that this experience is a completely novel one.
Indeed, but I know his values. I know his values, I know his character.
And
so in that, I trust him.
Okay.
Yes, scenario will be different throughout. Yes, but how you handle a scenario, different scenario, is based on your values and your principles.
Okay.
And I know him for the past 10 years.
I don't disagree with that you know him for the past 10 years and you know him well. I'm trying to explore with you your basis of that.
That is my basis.
Okay, and anything else?
Nothing else.
No, nothing else. So your entire basis of knowing that Mr. Singh would be in a position to and will judge when is best for Raeesah to come clean and explain the lie in Parliament based on her own assessment and condition is all based on your knowing Mr. Singh for 10 years.
His values and his principles.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay. So you know of no other information, no other fact, no other person told you anything which formed that impression on your part, correct?
Impression on? Sorry.
The understanding that Mr. Singh would sort out the problem in the way that we have just explained, no. You know of no other basis on which you can say gave you the comfort that he would do so, right?
Yeah, it's based on my own, what do you call it, my trust in him, yeah.
Now, going back to the 8th of August in Mr. Singh's home on the dining table, and now I'm asking you to look at it from Ms. Khan's perspective. She comes forward and she makes two admissions to the senior leadership of the Workers' Party.
Yes.
The first confession about her own experience as a sexual assault victim would not have been necessary but for the second confession, correct?
Sorry, I don't get what you're trying to ask from me.
Her disclosure of her own experience as a sexual assault victim would not have been necessary but for the fact that she was trying to explain the circumstances behind telling a lie in Parliament, right?
You're asking me, looking from Ms. Khan's perspective.
I'm
That's
asking
what,
you to look at it from
her perspective.
the perspective of someone who sat in the meeting listening to Ms. Khan.
No, I thought you did mention that looking from Ms. Khan's perspective.
Yes, so from her perspective, she's coming forward to a Workers' Party leadership, including you, to make two confessions.
Okay.
Right. Now, you heard those confessions, right?
Right.
From your perspective now, just so you are clear.
My perspective, okay.
The first admission about her own experience as a sexual assault victim
Yes.
was only necessary to tell you because she was also making the second confession, right?
I don't know what was the intention to her to mention
No,
the
from
first.
your perspective, think about it as a matter of logic. If there was no lie in Parliament, meaning she did go and accompany someone to see the police, if there was no such lie, there would have been no need to talk about her own experience as a sexual assault victim, right?
I can't say much on that because I mentioned just now that I don't know her intention.
No, I'm not asking you for her intention. I'm asking you for someone who is the recipient of the information.
Yes.
She comes and makes a confession, two confessions.
Correct.
I'm saying that the confession about her own experience as a sexual assault victim
Yes.
only came about because she lied in Parliament, right?
Yes.
Yes. Because
Basically, yeah. On the
correct.
8th, after she lied on the 3rd.
That's right.
Correct.
So she disclosed her own experience to explain why she did so, correct?
Okay, she didn't link the thing together, as I mentioned now. She just came to us, told us that she's...
Yes, but I'm not asking you to give me a verbatim account of what she said. I'm saying your takeaway. Logic. It's pure logic, right? If she didn't lie in Parliament, there'll be no explanation whatsoever that's
in
necessary.
general, but I don't have that I'm not a judgmental person, which I kind of like,
I'm not asking you for judgment, Mr. Faisal.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm simply putting a point of logic to you. Yeah. If there was no question of a lie,
Yes.
that means the account attending the police station with the victim was true, then the second explanation about her own self would not arise, right? Because it's true. She did go to the police station with the victim.
Sorry, I just didn't get the point that you are trying to ask me. I'm sorry about it.
Okay. It's okay. Take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
So she told a lie in Parliament, right?
Indeed.
The lie was that she went to the police station with a victim, right?
Yes.
And then she explained that the police treated the victim badly, right?
Yes.
And she put it down as a personal account, one that she saw because she was there, right?
Yes.
That's false, right?
Yes, false.
False in that it never happened. She never went to the police station.
Okay.
And she never accompanied the victim to the police station,
Yes.
right? Okay. If the account was true, there's nothing to explain in Parliament, right? Because it's true.
Yes, correct.
And it is therefore in trying to explain the untruth, meaning she is now saying to you, Mr. Faisal, look, I didn't actually accompany anybody.
Yes.
But I got the information from my own experience in a support group.
Okay.
She's trying to explain to you how she got the information, correct?
Yeah.
And it is in that context that she needs to disclose that she's in a support group, right?
Yes.
And she was in a support group because she herself was a victim of a sexual assault, right?
Yes.
Right. So therefore it follows that if there was no lie, there was no question of a lie in Parliament about going to the police station, the second issue of her own experience as a sexual assault victim wouldn't come up, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's where I was getting to.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Okay. So the main point of the meeting to discuss this, besides the statement, was because she had lied in Parliament.
No. I was told by Pritam, we agreed that we need to meet to discuss about the statement.
Yes. No, listen to my question carefully. I said, let me repeat it. I said there's main point of the meeting to discuss this, besides the statement, was because she had lied in Parliament. Correct?
You mean the agreement
The
that we
8th
have
August
to come?
meeting. The 8th August
No,
meeting.
as mentioned to Minister Lee earlier on, my understanding on the 8th of August meeting is to discuss about the statement to come out to about the FGC and the polygamy. That's all.
Yes.
I'm not privy to the other two part where she's going to come and confess about a lie. Yeah.
Okay. So now I ask you to look at it as a person who attended the meeting
Yes.
and who was there, and you said your eyes was on Miss Khan throughout.
Yeah.
Remember? Okay. She comes forward and she makes two important disclosures,
Yes.
confessions, right? You agree both are important confessions, right?
Indeed.
Okay. And so she has told her senior party leaders that she has lied in Parliament,
Yes.
and there's no reaction whatsoever, right?
I think I've earlier shared
Yes.
with you that.
I'm looking at it now from this angle. There's no reaction whatsoever, right?
My answer will be similar to what I've said to you earlier. What's that mean?
Yeah, please state the answer. There's no reaction, correct? Answer is yes or no?
Overwhelmed by the first part, yeah. Overwhelmed by the first confession, yeah.
Okay, so there's no reaction, correct?
Reaction to that part of
About
lying,
her
right?
lie, yeah.
Yeah. As I mentioned, we're overwhelmed.
Yeah,
so-
you said zero just now, right?
Yeah.
Didn't ask her a question, correct?
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah.
Didn't tell her what to do about it.
Yes.
Didn't discuss details with her.
Yes.
Didn't ask her why is it untrue.
Yes.
Didn't discuss with her whether or not.
Nothing. Zero. Like as you mentioned earlier, zero.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, from her perspective, she walks into a meeting with her senior party leaders. She discloses and confesses to having lied in Parliament. There's zero reaction from her senior party leaders. What do you think she will walk away with?
I cannot answer that on her behalf, but again, if you goes back to what she told Paying and Miss and Nudish, right? The WhatsApp that she sent after she left Pritam's.
Yes.
Okay, she's more relating to them about she's being a Muslim, she's being a Muslim woman,
Okay.
and that's so forth.
All right. So
Yeah.
let's take the WhatsApp now. Okay. You
Yeah.
are on the bundle that we saw earlier, page 23, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the WhatsApp. Hey guys, I just met with Pritam, Sylvia, and Faisal.
Okay. Yep.
You have that?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. So this message, Mr. Faisal, has got 4 lines. Okay.
Yes.
Hey guys, I just met with Pritam, Sylvia, and Faisal. First line.
Yes.
It's true, right?
Yeah, met with me, Pritam, and
This line is true, right?
Silver,
Okay.
correct.
And we spoke about the Muslim issues and a police accusation.
Yes,
This line
she confessed.
Also true, right?
Yeah, when she confessed, the confession part.
Yeah, but this statement is true, right?
We
And we
spoke. Okay, if
spoke
you
about
mentioned
the-
about we spoke, right? It's not we spoke. She's the one who told us. After that, we didn't speak about it.
Okay. But with that qualification, it's true, right? We spoke, meaning it came up.
Yeah, we spoke about the Muslim issues and the police accusation, as I mentioned just now. As I mentioned to you that zero. I disagree with it. If we spoke, it's
So you are saying
She spoke.
You are saying she spoke, but you didn't speak.
yeah.
Yeah. Subject to that qualification, this line is true, right?
Sorry again.
Subject to that qualification
Yeah.
that she spoke and you didn't spoke based on your evidence, this line is true, right?
Yes.
Okay. Next line. I told them what I told you guys, and they've agreed that the best thing to do is to take the information to the grave. True or not true?
Not true.
Not true. Next line. They also suggested that I write a statement to send out this evening. True?
True.
True. So, let's look at it from your perspective. She goes into a meeting, she makes a confession, she follows up with an almost contemporaneous message to her close associates, and you are saying that her account of what she was told by you is untrue.
Sorry again, what her account of?
Her account of what she was told to take the information to the grave is untrue. Okay. Can you tell me? No, let me ask the questions. Can you tell me, Mr. Faisal, why would Ms. Khan lie to her friends?
I do not know.
Can you think of a good reason?
I can't.
You are her mentor.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
Why would she come out of the meeting almost... Let me finish.
Yeah.
Why would she come out of the meeting with you, made a confession, a very serious one, to a senior party leaders, step out, almost immediately send a message about what happened? And why would she lie? And why would she just give a one-line lie and the rest of the statement is correct? Can you think of a good reason?
I cannot think of a good reason because, as I mentioned to you just now, she trusted me. I trust her. I trust her to do to do what is correct. That's why I'm very perturbed when she came up with this statement to say that, the best thing to do is to take the information to the grave.
Yes, but why would she lie, Mr. Faisal? Why
That's
would she
the
lie?
reason I don't understand.
Think about it.
I can't think about it because I don't understand why she needs to utter this word. It didn't happen.
Okay, think about it now. Okay?
There's nothing for me to think, Mr. Edwin, because I can't understand where she...
Okay, don't jump ahead, please, Mr. Faisal. Let me ask the questions, okay? She volunteered the information that she
Indeed.
right? You didn't find out before she told you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she went to a meeting with her most senior party leaders, chairman, vice chairman, secgen, and volunteered the information, confessed.
Yeah.
Would you accept that one reasonable interpretation of what she did on the 8th of August was to make a confession to her senior party leaders and get guidance on what to do?
On her part, yes.
Fair, right?
Fair.
And as a young MP, barely a year in chamber,
Yes.
meeting with her most senior party leaders, coming with a confession, it'll be fair for her to expect that going into the meeting, she will get guidance from three of you, correct?
Yes, correct.
On what to do and how to handle the problem, right?
Yes, correct.
Right. And she did this on her own volition. She stepped forward to confess on her own volition. She wasn't found out, right?
She wasn't found out about...
She wasn't found out by you or by Pritam or Mr. Singh or Ms. Lim, right?
I think based on the transcript, right? Transcript, I believe that she did mention to Pritam on the 7th.
Yes, but he didn't find out. She told him, right?
That one you have to ask Pritam and ask to Raeesah because I don't know what happened during the conversation.
No, I'm only addressing the point because you seem to know your transcripts well and you know that it was brought up on the 7th. So I'm simply saying that it was told to him, not that he knew first, right?
I need to look at what was...
But as far as you recollect,
You mean that is she who admitted to Pritam?
Yes.
I don't have that information.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as you know,
I don't have that information.
No, as Mr.
You asked me as far as I know, but I said I don't have the information.
Mr. Faisal, don't worry.
I'm not worrying. I'm stating. I'm answering to your answer, Mr. Edwin.
You see, the reason why I start my questions with "as far as you know" is because I'm trying to ask you for your knowledge. I am not here to ask you to speculate.
I don't have any doubt about that, Mr. Edwin. But I'm answering to your question.
No, but you see, Mr. Faisal, you cut me off before I even finished. I just said.
I'm sorry about that again.
I just said, "as far as you know," and then you cut me off.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
Okay. As far as you know, did Ms. Lim find out about the lie, or was she told for the first time at the meeting on the 8th of August?
I don't know about that.
Yeah. But as far as you are concerned, you only knew on the 8th of August,
yes.
Right? And there is no suggestion on the 8th of August that either of Ms. Lim or Mr. Singh, leave out Mr. Singh for the time being, There's no suggestion on the 8th of August that Ms. Lim knew about this lie before Ms. Khan told her, right?
Sorry, again. Sorry about that.
There's no suggestion on the 8th of August at the meeting that Ms. Lim knew about the lie before the 8th of August.
That's correct.
Right. So, at least for the two of you, as far as you know,
Yeah.
it was Ms. Khan coming forward voluntarily, right?
Yes,
Okay.
as far as we know.
So she's coming forward, making the confession. So my question again, why would she step out of this meeting and tell a lie
Yeah.
to her closest associates? Can you think of a good reason?
I have to repeat that. I don't know. I don't have any good reason for me to think of because it wasn't. I didn't expect her to say all this. That's why I don't know. Okay, Mr. Edwin, can I just bring you to the WhatsApp message?
No.
Yeah, okay.
If you like to clarify, I can give
Yeah.
you some time later. But I like to carry on with my line of questioning. Okay.
Indeed.
When she came to see you and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim, and I think we agreed earlier that she was there, it's a reasonable assumption that she was there to get guidance and advice from you, three of you, right?
Reasonable assumption, correct?
Let's say for the moment, we assume that there was zero discussion on this, okay? Would you think that one takeaway by Ms. Khan from the meeting will be that my senior party leaders are not concerned at all about the lie?
I cannot speak on her behalf,
No.
but the thing
No,
is that
Mr. Faisal,
yeah,
I'm not asking you to speak on her behalf.
yeah. But you ask me whether do I think?
Because you see, we all agreed that the common assumption is that she's coming to see you, make a confession, senior party leaders.
Yeah, her assumption.
It's reasonable, not her assumption, but it's reasonable
Yep.
for her to believe that she will get guidance and advice from you.
Correct.
So if you don't say anything, zero, no questions, no comments,
Yeah.
don't tell her what to do. One reasonable takeaway from her is that her senior party leaders are not concerned with the issue.
We did advise her about confession.
No, Mr. Faisal,
Yeah.
let me be clear. Let's focus on the lie to Parliament, okay?
Yeah.
So one reasonable assumption by her would be that my senior party leaders are not concerned with it, right?
She may have that assumption, but
And
she
it would be a reasonable assumption, right?
yes on her part. Yes.
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 Because she told you a lie, or rather she told you that she told a lie in Parliament, very serious.
Yeah.
And you don't say that's wrong. You don't say please correct it. You don't say what happened. You don't say how do we fix it.
Yeah.
You don't tell her to fix it.
Yeah.
You don't tell her let's take steps to tell the
Correct,
CEC.
correct.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
You don't tell anybody about it. You don't
Yes.
tell her anything.
Yes.
So it's a fair assumption on the part that my senior party leaders actually think it's okay.
Okay, I have to.
Yes or no?
I like to retract that. It's not a fair assumption after thinking about it that she has the right to ask, why aren't you all giving me advice on this confession I've just made?
You mean after I come to you and I said, I lie in Parliament?
After she came and
Hang
said,
on, let me finish. After I come to you and I said, I've lied in Parliament, you don't say a thing, zero, and I then have the onus of asking, what do we do?
If that's her intention of coming to see us to seek guidance,
See,
after she told us she was as the opening statement, I believe she still has the opportunity to ask because is that what's her intention of coming to ask us for our guidance?
and that's
And
your,
why didn't she continue and ask us, hey, I have not got the guidance from you all regarding this particular issue?
and
And that didn't happen.
that's your position as a senior party leader, all three of you?
As I mentioned to you, you have to make a judgment. What on the three issues that's been confessed or being shared by Raeesah, her well-being at a point in time is our priority.
I accept that, Mr. Faisal. I accept
Yes.
that, and I also applaud that her well-being is
Thank
a
you.
priority. Okay?
Thank you.
But I also put to you that the three most senior members of the Workers' Party is present. She has come forward voluntarily. She's made a confession. two confessions. One, about her own experience.
Indeed.
And two, which we agreed was the main confession, because
Indeed.
without the second one, the first one would be irrelevant, that
Yes.
she lied in Parliament.
Yes.
You also agreed with me that it was reasonable for her to assume, in that context that she was in, meeting with the senior party leaders, that it would be reasonable for her to assume that guidance would be given to her.
It's reasonable for her to
Yes.
assume yes.
But nothing was said to her, zero.
Yes,
right?
but
You
she has a
said.
chance to ask for clearance before she leaves, because if there's the intention of her coming to get guidance, and she didn't get the guidance from us, she should ask.
Okay.
That's the purpose of the discussion, the purpose of the meeting, that we are open to listen, and we're open to be asked by her, can you please guide me on what needs to be done?
But she's,
But
Mr. Faisal,
yeah.
she's, first of all, she's a young lady.
But she is
Secondly-
she's an adult. She's a mother of two.
Yes. She's a young lady. But
She's not
besides-
young. He's 28. How do you define young, Mr. Edwin?
I don't think we should get into that discussion. She is young. She, more importantly, was an inexperienced first-term MP.
I agree.
Yes. Coming to her seniors.
Yeah.
So,
To seek guidance.
yes.
Yes.
Correct. And
But is
to
she
get
seeking
guidance.
guidance?
To seek and to get guidance.
Yes, but when we quiet about it, because we're overwhelmed by her confession.
All three of you.
Did she come to the point that, hey, I've not get the guidance on this police issue? She didn't do that. And instead, when she came out, the first thing that she mentioned to them, to the Miss Low and what they call it, Nathan, if you look further down, she's more of sharing her role. You know, she said, I thought about my role as member of parliament as well. This is the one. This is portion of her being affected by, you know, by people, the social media comment on her. She's
Yes.
more interested of sharing this part with the two of them, and just one line stating that the best thing to do is to take information to the grave, and
Yes.
that's what she shared with them on the issue of she come to see us to seek guidance.
Yes. Let me...
End up, she's more interested of telling the two of them. She felt that she is a Muslim woman.
Very stoutly, right? She said that very
Yes.
strongly, very firmly, right?
Indeed.
Yes, thank you. Now, let me give you a plausible explanation why she emerged from that meeting and she focused on this. Okay?
Yes.
You pick up her evidence, Ms. Khan's evidence. This would be on 2nd December. I think Mr. Lee, my colleague, showed you this earlier. So I think you remember it. So I'll take you through it very quickly. Starting from the top line, whose house? Mr. Pritam Singh's house.
Sorry.
Both.
This is on which page? Minister?
Page 87.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I should have told you the page number.
Thank you, Minister.
Okay. You can take some time to read it quickly if
Yeah.
you like.
No, I think we can go
You
through
know?
together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Singh's house, Mr. Lim, Mr. Manap was present. Was it put in clear terms that the statement you made was false? Answer, yes. Could they have misunderstood? No, they could not. Okay, pause for a moment. All this is true, right?
Yeah, she did declare. I mean, she did confess.
Okay. Then it goes on. What was their reaction? It was incredible disappointment. There was a lot of anger, but I think there was some compassion as well. The reaction was that if I was not to be pressed, then the best thing to do would be to retain the narrative that I began in August. Then I asked her some questions about what that means. She talked about Mr. Pritam Singh's initial response, then how he changed his mind. And then right at the bottom, I said the upshot of the meeting a few days after 7 August, and this is actually the 8th August meeting, was that the Workers' Party leadership decided that there will be no need to clarify the position. They will keep the lie in place, since if you are not pressed, there's no need to clarify the truth. Correct? Answer, correct. Now, pause for a moment, Mr. Faisal. You want to read further? I'm okay if you like to.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me suggest to you why her immediate post-8 August meeting messages to her closest confidants and associates was focused on the Muslim issues. On her account, she went to the meeting, she made her confession, she told you about her sexual assault experience, but she told that to you in the context of explaining how she learnt of the information, meaning the way the police treated sexual assault victims. She also told you that the anecdote she told in Parliament was false. The three of you told her this anecdote about the false, this lie about the false anecdote should not be told to anyone, should take it to the grave, in her words. But on the Muslim issue, issue a statement by this evening.
Yes.
Okay? So
That's a word.
that would be her account of what happened. And so, based on that alone, okay, that means based on her account, Mr. Faisal, I'm not asking you to base it on what you disagree with, but based on her account, okay? The messages that are exchanged immediately after the 8th of August would be entirely consistent with her account of what happened at the 8th of August meeting, correct?
Her account.
Yes, her account.
Yeah. Basically her account. Basically.
Yes, so
Yeah.
consistent with her account, right?
Yeah, you're trying to say that these two portions are consistent?
Consistent.
Yes.
I'm trying to say that based on what she said happened
Yeah,
on the
okay,
8th of
correct.
August,
Yeah.
everything that happened thereafter in her private messages with her closest associates would be consistent with that, right? You understand?
I don't get that part.
That means I just read to you her account of what happened.
Yeah.
I'm saying to you, take it on the basis of her account. Okay, what Ms. Khan says.
Okay.
The messages that we now see on the bundle between herself and her closest associates would be consistent with her account, right?
Yes.
It'll be consistent because, number one, she was told by the Workers' Party leadership to bury the matter, take it to the grave, not talk about it if you're not pressed.
That's her account.
Her account.
Yeah.
And so you don't see any other discussion on this thereafter. Correct?
Yeah.
Conversely, on the Muslim statement clarification, she was told, put out a statement by this evening. And so she proceeds to discuss with her associates what the Workers' Party leadership told her to do, which is to put out a statement. Correct?
Yes.
And in fact, for the rest of the day, as I showed you earlier, proceeds to prepare the draft, run the draft by you, discuss it with you. I think she cleared it with Mr. Singh as well.
Yes.
And then she posted it, right?
Yes.
So everything that she has done after the 8th of August meeting is in fact consistent with her recollection of what happened at the meeting, right? Her recollection.
Her recollection, correct.
And consistent with the WhatsApp that she sent to her friends at 12:41 on the 8th of August, correct?
Yes.
So I come back to this other point. She is now in a close chat with her associates, people who had helped her. And she told us, and Mr. Nathan and Ms. Loh also told us that, in fact, she also confessed the lie to them. This you may or may not know,
Okay.
if you had not
I'm not aware of that.
seen the transcripts earlier. So in that context, she has confessed it to her associates, and apart from her family, her husband, senior Workers' Party leadership. These are the only two other persons who are aware that she told a lie in Parliament. And she told them before she went to meet with you on the 8th of August.
I believe so. I'm not aware of that. I believe so.
I'm putting to you, I'm saying to you what they have said. She then comes to this meeting, and you see her account of the meeting in the WhatsApp. In this context, with a close group of associates, in a closed message, not published anywhere, I go back to my original question, Mr. Manap, Mr.
Sorry.
Faisal, I beg your pardon. I will try to remember. Why would she lie about this?
That's what I've been telling you from just now, Mr. Edwin, that I do not know. And this is something which I don't understand about her, right? How could she tell such a grave lie to say that she was told by us to bring the information to the grave?
But this is a contemporaneous record. Within minutes of coming out of the meeting, she sends this message.
Correct.
Again, why would
correct.
she lie?
That is my the same question that I need to ask her. Why did she lie? I do not have that answer.
And so, everything that she has done thereafter with her associates, as you yourself said, is consistent with her account of what happened, right?
Her account.
Correct, right?
Yes, her account.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's not telling it to the whole world. She's keeping it to a trusted group of people.
Correct.
No reason to lie, right, in that context.
I can't answer that because
No,
I really don't know why she lied. I don't know. I'm very, to be honest, like, you know, when the news came out, she said that the three of us asked her to bring the information to the grave. I don't know how to react. I was like dumbfounded.
Okay,
She trusted me,
Yeah, she did.
and I trust her. Why she did what she has done?
Put it this way, Mr. Faisal, would you agree that it is actually out of character for Ms. Khan to lie, from what you know of her?
As I mentioned to her, I don't judge. For me, that, you know, being a counsellor, I always have these values that, you know, everybody's innocent and is proven guilty.
I know,
So
but
I have any encounter with her before that, so I do not want to.
No,
you know,
but you see, I'm not asking you from a perspective of someone who is counseling a
No,
client.
that's my values.
Yeah.
Basically.
But you're on top of your values, you are also close with her in the sense that we have discussed earlier. You share religious messages with her.
Yeah.
You encourage her.
Yeah.
She looks up to you. She meets with you.
Yeah.
In that context, Mr. Faisal,
Yeah.
you would accept that it is out of character for Ms. Khan to lie.
Yeah. Not, as I mentioned, I do not want to judge because I don't see her.
No, I'm not asking you to judge her. I'm asking you for your
Indeed.
personal opinion.
Correct.
Your
That's why.
personal evidence.
That's why.
Based on everything you know.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you beyond that.
Understand.
Based on all of that
Yes.
only.
Yes.
It is out of character for her to lie, right?
Correct. Yes. That's why I was very surprised and very stunned, very shocked that why she need to say that, you know, we ask her to bring the information to the grave. I can't comprehend.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your next interaction about this matter, or with Ms. Khan, was, or rather with Ms. Khan on this matter meaning the lie, okay? So we are clear. You understand me?
The lie.
Okay, let me rephrase
Okay,
it. So earlier on, I don't want to, let me know if I misunderstood you. Earlier on, in answer to Mr. Lee's question, you said that 8th of August, you parted ways.
Yes.
Zero was spoken about the lie, and
Yes.
you went off, and you left it to Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim. And the next time you had anything to do with Ms. Khan over the lie was on 29th of October at the CEC meeting.
Yes.
Did I hear you correctly?
Yes.
Okay. So, when you were summoned to attend this CEC meeting, which I think is a special, unscheduled one, correct?
Yes.
Did you ask yourself what it is about?
No. Okay, I believe that because I know there's a confession, right? Okay, so I believe that it comes to a point where she wants to make a confession. Okay, Pritam didn't. I mean, basically that was that my understanding that it's meant for her to confess. Yeah.
Meant for her to confess.
Yeah, to confess, to say what she's going to say, to present in Parliament.
But how did you know that she was going to present anything in Parliament as of that point in time?
Because I assume that basically she have decided after what happened in Parliament on the 4th, where she was asked by Minister Shanmugam, right? So I believe that it come to the point that she wants to share with the CEC, the assumption that, you know, she want to come to CEC and share with the CEC what she's going to state in Parliament on the 1st of November.
How did you know that?
Assumption.
So, having heard nothing further, having heard her repeat the lie,
Yeah.
or at least seen her repeat the lie in Parliament on the 4th of October,
Yes.
why out of the blue would you assume on the 29th of October that now she would change tack and come clean?
Okay. Because I mentioned earlier that I put the trust in Pritam, and I know that, she needs to come clean. She need to make the clarification in Parliament. So I believe that, it's assume that that's the time where she wants to come to CEC to basically to share.
All that you learned without talking to anyone?
Yeah, based on my recollection, yeah.
So now, based on your recollection, are you able to remember if you did discuss it with Ms. Khan or with anyone else?
No, I don't think so.
You're sure?
I'm
Do
sure.
you need to check your sequence of events?
No, my sequence is very simple. That it's not very detailed. I don't have that in my formation.
So if I hear you correctly, after you said goodbye on the 8th of August and was told about this very serious lie, very serious issue in Parliament, you had yourself zero involvement in this issue.
Yes.
Except hearing on the 4th of October that she continued to lie again, right?
Yeah.
But somehow was able to, 3 weeks later, despite her repeating the lie on the 4th of October, 3 weeks later you somehow realized that she was not going to come clean.
She's gonna come clean in a sense, yeah.
How did you know?
Because I mentioned to you that understand that, as I mentioned to you earlier on, that I trust in Pritam that he will make this happen soon. But how soon is based on Pritam's judgment.
So just based on trust?
Yes, what I mentioned earlier.
Okay, and so how did you know that, based on Mr. Pritam's judgment, the time was now, on the 29th of October, and that she'll be ready to make
I don't know.
that she'll be ready to make the confession?
So sorry again. Okay,
you see, I asked you about your involvement on the 29th of October, and you said that it was a meeting called for the CEC for her to explain her confession.
To say what she wants to say in Parliament,
Correct.
Yeah.
In other words, she is now ready to come clean, right?
Yes.
So my question is, how did you know that? And you remember you answered me earlier on when I asked you, before going to the meeting, did you know what it was about? And you said it was for her.
Yeah, my assumption. Yeah.
Your assumption.
Yeah.
So, again, like your first assumption about Mr. Singh handling the matter, this conclusion also relies on several assumptions, right?
Sorry, I can't follow you.
Okay, on the 29th of October, for you to form the view that this CEC meeting was for Ms. Khan to come and explain that she will come clean in Parliament on the following parliamentary sitting, there will have to be a few assumptions giving rise to that conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The assumptions are, first, Ms. Khan, despite having repeated the lie just a few weeks ago, was now ready to take a completely different position.
Yes.
Right. The second assumption is that she is now ready to do so, bearing in mind your concerns over her mental
state,
readiness and mental state, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And the third assumption is that Mr. Singh would have made that assessment that she is now ready to do so.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So somehow you were able to come round with all these assumptions and form the correct view that she was ready to explain to the CEC that she was going to come clean in Parliament.
Yes.
Is that what you recollect?
Yes. The assumption, based on assumption.
It's quite a coincidence, right?
That's what I recall. The truth, nothing but the truth.
Okay. Mr. Faisal, on the 4th of October, you gave evidence earlier that you weren't in chamber when the exchange happened between Minister Shanmugam and Ms. Khan, right?
Correct.
But you learned of it subsequently.
Yeah.
You would have been shocked, right?
Shocked, yes.
Correct?
Shocked about the exchange, yeah.
Yes. You would have been very worried, correct?
Yes.
You would have appreciated that this was a serious problem for Ms. Khan, right?
Correct.
You would have appreciated that the Workers' Party was in trouble, correct?
Yes.
So leaving aside your view or your confidence in Mr. Singh that he would figure out when it's the right time for Ms. Khan to come clean, wouldn't you also be concerned that, hey, now, by this time, Ms. Lim, Mr. Singh, myself, are aware of information that will completely contradict what Ms. Khan said in Parliament, which she repeated several times, which she continued to assert to the detriment of the police and to the disadvantage of sexual assault victims. Right?
Yes.
In that context, wouldn't you be concerned that by now the Workers' Party has to do something?
The concern was there.
Yes or no?
Yes, the concern was there. But again, it's the trust that I have in Pritam, that he will do the right thing. And I trust that Raeesah will do the right thing.
The trust in Mr. Pritam, Mr. Singh, was for her to make a judgment on when Ms. Khan would come clean, right?
Yes.
We discussed it earlier.
Yes.
But now I'm asking you a different question. From the party's perspective, knowing what you now know, wouldn't it be important to ensure that the party is protected?
I believe that when Mr. Pritam did
Yes or no?
When Mr. Pritam did his judgment, he take into consideration the party well-being, as well as the member well-being, who is a part of the party and MPs of the party.
But you see, Mr. Faisal, you would have no knowledge of that because you had zero conversations with him.
That's why I say it's based on trust.
So this is another one where you base on trust and assumption.
Yes.
That despite now yourself now being in, I would say, a difficult position yourself, you still felt that it was okay not to have to discuss it with Mr.
I don't feel
Singh.
I'm in a difficult situation.
Don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. Let me finish. And let me rephrase. This is now, at this stage, on the 4th of October, despite yourself being in a difficult position, you still felt it was okay not to discuss with Mr. Singh?
Yes.
The reason I said you're in a difficult position, Mr. Manap, is this. Earlier on, you agreed with me that lying in Parliament...
Sorry, Mr. I misconstrued you that I thought I'm in the difficult situation right now.
No,
I think you're from back then, October 4th. Okay, I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry. I'm glad we cleared it up. But on the 4th of October.
Yeah.
Okay. So you agree that you were in a difficult position on the 4th of October, right?
Indeed.
Because by now, unlike the 3rd of August, you know that what was said in Parliament and reported widely in the press is false.
Yes.
We agreed earlier that lying in Parliament is bad and possibly an offence.
Correct.
But allowing a lie to perpetuate in Parliament is also bad and possibly an offence, right?
Indeed.
And that would affect you personally.
Indeed.
And Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim as well.
Yes.
Right? Isn't it important to then make sure that this lie is then clarified?
Mr. Edwin...
No, answer my question. Isn't it important? I know you will say you trust Mr. Singh, but
yes, indeed.
Is it important?
Indeed. But it linked to my trust to Mr. Singh. I can't delink it.
Yes, but there's no way you would have known if he was dealing with it and how, right? Aren't you at the least bit interested in how it's going to be dealt with?
That is the basis of trusting someone. We know he has the interest at heart. His interest is the party need to come clean. Raeesah need to come clean. But he need to make a judgment call. And yes, I'm in a difficult situation. Not only me, Pritam, Sylvia, and so did, I believe, Raeesah and Sylvia.
But you see,
but we have to make a judgment.
In August, your evidence is you left it entirely to him because you trusted him.
Yes.
To make the judgment call on when she'll be ready and when she'll come clean.
Yes.
But I think you would agree with me that the dynamics have changed in October, by October 4th,
Correct.
right? Because now it is no longer one MP lying in Parliament. It is one MP lying in Parliament, again, 3 other MPs from the same party, knowing that it is a lie. Changed quite fundamentally, right? Agree?
Sorry, the change part is...
The dynamics have changed, the circumstances have changed quite fundamentally,
correct.
right?
That means we are in a more difficult situation, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So don't you think it's important to speak up?
The thing, as I mentioned, that we are in a difficult situation, but I still have trust in Pritam that because I know that whatever Pritam is doing and the judgment call that need to be made is to be done with proper consideration, taking into consideration of all aspects, the well-being of Raeesah, the well-being of the party.
Yes, but I think we agreed earlier that you've never faced a situation in your political career where you've had to deal with a lie in Parliament by a fellow party member, right?
Yeah.
So it's a new situation for you.
Yes.
And
So,
now on the 4th of October,
Sorry.
on the 4th of October, you're directly involved.
Indeed.
And besides, I mean, Mr. Faisal, leave aside whether you are, directly involved, guilty of an offense or not. But don't you think that the honorable, transparent thing to do is to make sure that it comes out quickly? Yes or no?
The word quickly is again, to me, is based on what Pritam judgment call that he needs to make. He needs to make. Because
yes.
I do agree with you, Mr. Evan. Can you allow me to,
Yes.
We are indeed in a very, very difficult situation. Myself, Pritam and Sylvia.
Yes, but that difficult situation was already difficult on the 8th of August when you came into possession of the information.
Indeed.
But it is now worse because it is now said publicly and in Parliament.
Yes, you're right. You are in a very difficult situation.
And so I'm taking it as a matter of logic, okay?
Yes,
because
understand.
You have personal knowledge and I don't. As a matter of logic, in that situation, at a number of levels, you would want to make sure the information comes out as quickly as possible, right? That must be the case, correct?
Not as quickly as possible, but to the extent of what is best, when is the best time to come out, because the judgment that need to be made by Pritam based on the consideration that he has to take into, which is the well-being of Raeesah, the well-being of the party. Yes, you have to be accountable to Parliament, so he has to make that judgment. And I trust him in making the right judgment. And when the right time to basically have to put the record straight, correct the record in Parliament for Raeesah to do so.
Yeah, I can understand that in August. That's based on your evidence.
Yes.
Because it's not been repeated, and you're concerned about Ms. Raeesah, Ms. Khan. We are now at a time span which is 2 months later.
Yes.
Almost 8 weeks later. Okay? And in these 8 weeks, according to you, zero, right? Nothing has been discussed.
Yes.
So you have no idea whether Ms. Khan is okay, not okay, ready, not ready, what was discussed, and so on, according to you. But you then find out, because you're not in chamber, that she's repeated the lie.
Indeed.
And we agreed earlier that this lie adversely affects the police and sexual assault victims.
Yes.
And so in this context, as I said, leaving aside personal considerations, whether you're guilty of any offenses or whether there's any problem, but don't you think that as a matter of openness and transparency, it would be important to bring out the clarification as soon as possible?
Indeed, but as soon as possible, the timing-wise, what is the best time is still back to the judgment call of Mr. Pritam.
Okay.
Because he knows all the information that he has acquired, and he knows the actual situation then.
Okay.
Of course, I feel very troubled, like what you mentioned now. Okay, feeling more troubled as in August as compared to October, yes.
Okay.
But there must be a reason for Pritam not to be able to get Raeesah, or I don't know what the reason was back then.
Yeah, so when you saw on the 4th of October that she repeated the lie, you knew that there was a bigger problem than in August, right?
It's naturally
right?
Yeah, because it's the second lie.
Okay. So did you then go and ask Pritam, hey, what's going on? Is she ready now to come clean?
I did not.
Because there is still a next sitting on the 5th of October.
Yeah, I did not.
Right?
Yeah.
And why not?
Because I go back to the point of I trust Pritam, there must be certain thing that he still need to evaluate, or certain thing that make him not to push Raeesah, which I don't know what the reason was then.
Yeah, I might almost understand, not entirely, but I must almost understand why you might say Mr. Singh will make an assessment of Ms. Khan's state of readiness. But what is to stop you from asking Mr. Singh what is happening?
Trust.
Without asking for any
Trusting his
details.
judgment.
So you trust his judgment? You don't?
Yes.
If that is the case, why don't you just leave everything to him?
In what way?
Everything else. The way you run your party, the way you run your... Let me finish.
Yeah.
The way you run your party, the way you run at CEC, the way you run Aljunied GRC.
We gave him the trust of becoming our SG to lead the party. And we put the trust in him that he will make a good judgment. Right?
And
in the context of this case, he has the information which I do not have.
Did you make an attempt to find out the information?
No.
Why not?
Trust.
You have your own duties, Mr.
I understand that. But that what my judgment called back then.
And your own duty as a member of parliament, never mind that you're a senior member of the Workers' Party, any member of parliament has a duty to ensure that no untruth remains on the record, right?
That's what we want to do.
No, you have to do, right?
Yes, correct.
And so, when you knew that an untruth not only remained on the record for 8 weeks,
Yes.
but was repeated on the 4th of October several times,
Yes.
why didn't you do something about it?
Because I know that the truth will come out. Just that Pritam has to make a judgment, which I don't know what's stopping him, because I wasn't privy to what he has at that point in time.
So why not ask?
That's what I mentioned to you just now. That was my judgment call, which I based on trust. I know logically you may find it not acceptable, but that is
No, okay, let me ask you, no, don't worry about me. Let me ask you, logically, do you find it acceptable?
Logically, no, but that is me.
Yeah, but
The type of person I am.
So
I don't go just by, sorry to say, by mere logic. Because if I go by mere logic in the parliament, I will not bring up consistently things that I've been trying to bring up in parliament.
Okay, never mind about that.
Okay.
But let's focus on logic.
Yes.
You and I agree that logically,
Yes.
what happened doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Logically, correct?
Yes.
There's just no logic to the sequence of events that I've just taken you through, right? Why you didn't ask,
Yes.
why you didn't find out whether she's ready, why you didn't find out whether the next day she could go out there and explain and clarify.
Yes.
And meanwhile, you appreciated seriously, and I'm sure you do, your duty as a member of parliament to uphold parliament and to ensure
Yes.
that there is no falsehood or untruth that remains on the record in parliament, right?
Indeed. And that's what, sorry, can I add on?
And so,
Okay, sorry.
to summarize, this is what goes against the logic, right?
Yeah.
That you know that this is a problem at so many levels, to your party, to Ms. Khan, to yourself, to your fellow leaders of the Workers' Party.
I'm aware of that.
What's the logic behind it,
As I mentioned to you,
right? No logic, right?
from the perspective of
Logic.
logic, yes, no logic. Yeah. But can I explain?
Yes, please.
And how I link, I would like to link, I don't know, it's going to be a bit time consuming.
No, don't make it time consuming. But
Okay,
maybe
just tell you the person, my values and my principle. Okay, when I was asked by Minister Shamgam regarding why I disagree to separate politics and religion, right? So I did mention that I can't separate because logically it can be separated, but spiritually, based on my values, it can't.
Okay, Mr. Faisal.
That's how I want to explain my part of, I do understand logically per se, yes, but based on my values.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's agree on this, right? Logically, you would agree that what has happened, your reaction, the fact that you didn't come clean earlier or you checked with Mr. Singh about what's holding Ms. Khan back, all that makes no sense logically, right?
Yes.
Now, Mr. Faisal, if you can please pick up the bundle of WhatsApp messages, not the big one that you see here. But earlier on, my colleague, Mr. Lee, referred you to, I think the thinner one, yes. And this is the one with your own messages there.
I need to check first.
Yes.
Bear with me, sir. This one.
Do you have it?
While
This
we're
is-
flipping through this, can I just ask a quick question? Mr. Faisal Manap,
Yes.
you're saying that you base this on trust. I just want to understand the consistency of which you approach this as a senior member in the Workers' Party. If this, which is a very major issue, you, in the course of the many weeks, did not ask, did not inquire, did not discuss, because you trusted Mr. Singh to deal with this. Is that the same approach you take with every other issue? So you basically don't need to ask, don't need to clarify everything, you just hand it to Mr. Pritam Singh?
That's what I mentioned just now, is a judgment call for this particular context.
Not in this particular context. I'm trying to understand the consistency of your principle. Because
No.
if you trust him
Yeah.
on such a sensitive and difficult issue,
Yes.
then every other issue that says you don't need to discuss or raise your points, you just let it be. Is that how you approach?
No. I have
So
my
why
own
is it different in this case?
I have my own principle and my own values in life. In this case, based on my principle
So
and
in this
based on my
case,
values,
even though it may not seem logical, you're prepared to just trust him and not ask, not clarify, even though on a broader principle basis, as a parliamentarian, accountability of parliament, to a party, critical issue, there's no need to ask. But other issues, you might discuss and you might
yes,
raise questions.
because of the sensitivity of the issue, the difficulty of the issue, the challenges of the issue, the challenging circumstances of the issue that we're facing. So my judgment call is to leave it to Pritam because he has more information.
So would you agree that as an average person listening into this conversation, as mentioned, this would not seem logical?
Yeah.
Understand. Thank you.
Mr. Faisal, so you have the bundle now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, this is your message with messages with Ms. Khan, okay? Let me ask you to turn to page 11.
Yes, I'm at page 11
You there?
now.
Okay. Now, I'd like you to focus on somewhere in the top 1/3 of the page. You see 10.5, that's 5th of October.
10.5, okay.
You see that? You see that?
Yes.
Okay, it's a message from you. The preceding message was, the last message on record was 29th of September. So this is a chain that you initiated. And you say on the 5th of October at 2:44 p.m., Assalamualaikum, stay strong, sis. Allah will always be with those who are in need of His assistance. Do regularly turn to Him.
Yes.
And anytime you need views and opinions, inshallah, I will set aside time.
Yes.
That's your message, right? Which
Yes.
you initiated. What prompted this message?
I think because of the 3rd October session, Parliament session, I believe so.
It was the 4th of October.
Sorry, 4th. Yeah. Because
So-
I didn't respond. I didn't give any encouragement on the 4th. So on the 5th, I kind of WhatsApp her to give her this encouragement.
Okay. So let's agree on a few things. First of all, you're able to be in direct communication with Ms. Khan,
Yes.
right? There's no question about that, right? And so if you wanted to, you would be able to ask her a direct question
Yes.
concerning clarification of a lie in Parliament, right?
Yes.
But which you don't do.
Yes.
Would you accept that not talking to Ms. Khan and asking her a question about the lie in Parliament and when she will clarify is consistent with the WhatsApp message that she sent after the 8th of August from the meeting? Her account.
So, sorry again. I don't get the link of
Okay.
what transit to the 8th.
So, you remember we went through the WhatsApp message that she sent to Mr. Nathan and Ms. Low after the 8th of August.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it the one regarding the bring the information to the grave?
That's right, yeah, that's right. So I told you that there were 4 sentences. You disagreed with one of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said to you just now, take it on the basis of her account. Okay, so I'm asking you to assume Ms. Khan's account.
Okay.
Based on Ms. Khan's account, if she is right, we will not expect to see any discussion on the falsehood. Correct?
Based on her account.
Yes.
Based on her understanding.
Based on her understanding.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Okay, sorry, can you repeat one more time? That's just to make sure.
Okay. So she has had a meeting with you. She came out of the meeting and sent a WhatsApp message with
Correct.
an account of what happened, and she says that you plus Ms. Lim and Mr. Singh told her to take the information to the grave, right?
Okay.
Based on that account, it would be consistent not to see any further discussion on the falsehood, on the false anecdote, correct?
The impression that she has.
Based on her account, yes.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
And that's why we don't see any discussion between you and her on the lie or on attempts to go to Parliament to clarify the lie, correct?
Based on her
account.
understanding of that account. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In other words, the fact that there's an absence of any discussion on the lie in your discussions with Ms. Khan is consistent with her account, correct? Her account.
Her account.
Yes.
Her impression.
Her impression.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
And so here on the 5th of October, you are initiating a discussion with her.
Yes.
And this must have arisen as a result of her speech or the responses she gave in Parliament the day before to Minister Shanmugam's questions, right?
Yes, I believe so.
And you will remember that in fact, on the 4th itself and definitely on the 5th, there were a number of press reports which reported that incident, that exchange,
Yes.
right? And there were some reports which suggested that perhaps Ms. Khan actually does not have the details to share, correct?
What details?
Meaning there were some, to be more direct, there were some reports which suggest that perhaps Ms. Khan was not telling the truth. Correct?
Whether I'm aware of that.
Yes. It's all public
okay,
information,
yeah,
correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
The media report, like I said.
Media reports,
Okay.
yeah. So, and there must have been pressure on Ms. Khan as a result of that, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
And so your message is really a reaction to that, to try to comfort her, correct?
No. Okay, comfort in terms of what happened, the exchange between her and Minister Shanmugam.
I mean, if you read this message that I've just showed you, it's a comforting message, right?
Indeed.
You're meant to show support to her, right?
Correct.
Meant to reach out to her to say, you're there for her. If you need views, opinions, I'll make time for you, right?
Indeed.
So it's a reaction, it's a response to what she said in Parliament and the adverse reaction she got.
The exchanges that she had with Minister Shan.
That's right.
Yes.
And also the way in which the press reported the account.
Okay.
Correct?
The second part may not be the motivation for me to send that particular message. It's more of the first part that, her exchange with. I know it's tough to have exchanges with Minister Shan. Personally, I had one, a tough one.
Look, we don't have to go into that.
No, just to explain that, that's the reason why I tried to comfort her, to give her, the word of comfort.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but a day later, she then reaches out to you and says, are you free to meet today?
Yes.
You see that?
Yes.
And basically you track it down and you conclude that you didn't meet on the 6th, but you met on the 7th.
Yes.
Right? You did meet on the 7th, right?
Indeed. Yes.
And it was just the two of you?
Yes.
What was discussed?
About her, okay, as I mentioned that earlier to Mr. Lee, when I suggested to her to talk to her parents between the 3rd and the 4th due to the issue of polygamy and FGC, right?
But that's in August.
Yeah, correct. It linked to that part. Because initially I offered to talk to her parents, but she said, okay. Initially she said, okay. Then she declined, she said, her parents okay. Then the next message that I received from her, after she said that I need to come to her house, she mentioned that, okay, I do need to see you to seek some advice. So regarding wearing of hijab, meaning she wants to wear hijab, but she felt that, she don't know how the impression that would be on on the community in terms of, she's a public figure. She may, go to parliament without hijab, and when she's on her own, she will be donning the hijab. So I told her that, okay, anytime I'm open for you to contact me and we can discuss. So that didn't take place. Only on the 7th, then we continue on that.
So you met on the 7th?
Yes.
Okay, by that time you knew that she had repeated the falsehoods in Parliament, right?
Yes.
And you saw the press reports about that, right?
Yes.
The issue of the falsehoods didn't come up in your discussion with her?
No.
You didn't ask her about it?
No.
That would be unusual, right?
Logically?
So again, it would be logical to ask her about it, right?
Yes, but I don't have that point in time. I don't have the intention to ask, because as mentioned earlier on, that is a sensitive issue. So many things at stake. So that is my concern, and that is my judgment call again, that I leave it between her and Pritam to make that decision.
Yeah, but to have a meeting with her, right, few days after this occasion in Parliament, and you yourself agreed with me earlier that by the 4th of October, dynamics have changed. It's become more serious.
Indeed.
A lot more is at stake.
Indeed.
And a lot more harm has been caused.
Indeed.
To Parliament, to the police, and to sexual assault victims. Are you saying that that never figured in your conversation?
It's that when I need to lead you back to the point where I said that I have trust in Pritam. Okay, I trust her because she trusted me, so I trust that she's going to do the right thing. And the issue is a very sensitive issue, many things at stakes. So I leave it, my judgment back then is to let Pritam and Ms. Khan to make that decision.
Again, I come from not having direct knowledge like you, okay? But, we do have to make findings and work out facts, right?
Understand.
Okay, so, excuse me for asking you more questions on this.
No worries.
Okay? So, this was, to start from, 8th of August, this is an issue that Ms. Khan had come to you and confessed. She told a lie in Parliament.
Yes.
Okay, you trusted Pritam to handle it. But by the 4th of October, you must realize that the problem has become worse.
Indeed.
Right? Not getting better. Right? And you had no idea when, if at all, there will actually be a clarification. Right?
No idea, but I know it will come.
Okay. But it didn't come on the 5th.
Yes.
Which is the next sitting day.
Yes.
And you then, in the knowledge of all this, realized that Ms. Khan had a difficult session in Parliament. You sent her a message. There was some speculation in the press that she was not telling the truth.
Yes.
Which you know is the case.
Yes.
In that context, it'll be logical to discuss it with her, right?
Okay, basically, if
yes or no first, then you can explain.
Logically, yes. Yeah.
So, which means it's just illogical that you didn't even raise this with her at all, right?
From the perspective of many, yes, it seems to be illogical, yes.
You would accept that. From the perspective of many,
yes,
your behavior with her is just illogical, right?
Yes.
Then, can you offer us one reason why, besides the fact that you trust Mr. Singh, which
that's the only reason that I have. That's the reason, because at the end of the day, if she comes to me and she's troubled by the, what has happened in the past few days, she would ask me, Faisal, what do you think about what I need to do? Isn't it illogical for her not to do that? She knows I'm her confidante, but she chose not to do it. If she chose not to do it at that point in time, I believe that she must have worked with Pritam on certain things.
So you chose not to ask her at
No.
Even though by the 4th of October, you have a personal interest in it, Mr.
Yes, indeed. I said I was in a difficult situation, but I believe that trusting her, that she knows the right thing to do, and Pritam, I know that he needs to do the right thing. Based on that trust, I leave the matter to them. And again, as I mentioned, that if Raeesah were to ask me during that 7th October meeting, I will openly talk about it, but she didn't. So I assume that point in time, okay, that there's no need for us to talk about it because she doesn't want to talk about it. It's very pressing for her to talk about it. As you know that she trusted me, as mentioned by Minister Lee, she would have come and talked to me about it on the 7th.
So you agree that she trusted you?
Yes, no, that's what she mentioned. Before that, I don't know her level of trust in me, but it was, I think I read somewhere in transcript that she trusted me.
I mean, I'm asking you from your perspective.
Yeah.
She trusted you?
Yes.
So your point is that if she wanted to talk about it, she would raise it.
Indeed.
Just as if she needed advice on the 8th of August, she would ask.
Yes.
And the fact that you're a senior party leader is not relevant. Even if she doesn't ask, you just will not give the advice.
Just to give you a bit background about how I do my counseling, because
I'm sure, but you answer the question first.
I'm a person-oriented counselor.
Fine, but please answer the question first, then you explain.
Yeah. So, sorry, your question is?
And the fact that you're a senior party leader is irrelevant, and even if she had asked, you just would not give the advice. And even if she had not asked, you would not give the advice.
Yes. Based on my values of, if the thing is not being brought up in counseling, at times, you need to work with the issue that's being presented. Yeah. So again, come to the point that, that's again a judgment call, which I believe that, if she needs my advice on what happened on the 4th, on the 5th, she would have voiced out to me because she's trusted me, or she has a full trust in me, as mentioned in this document here.
Ms. Khan told us that between the Workers' Party MPs, there's a group chat.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Was this issue discussed on the group chat?
What issue?
Of her clarification and her lie in Parliament?
On the 4th?
No.
The clarification that happened on the 4th?
At any time. Was this discussed on a group chat between Workers' Party MPs?
I only can recall that on the 4th, there's no, after the exchange between Minister Shan and Ms. Khan, there's no discussion on this in the chat.
Before or after?
Looking at the time, I believe that, because I need to check, because, my presence in the Parliament on the 4th, right? So I did kind of look at the 4th of October. It was silence.
No. Before or after the 4th, was this issue of Ms. Khan's lie in Parliament ever discussed or raised in the group chat that you have with other Workers' Party MPs?
I can only attest that after the 4th, there's no discussion on that particular day.
Okay. What about before the 4th?
I can't recall.
At any time? Was there a discussion?
I can't recall.
You can't recall? I mean, on an issue like this that is so important, you can't recall if it was discussed on a group chat?
I know it's very important, but there's so many things. How many WhatsApp group do we have? There's so many things. I think you need to be fair to me that I'm not trying to mislead the committee, but I say I can't recall, I cannot recall because too many things happening.
You will also have a group chat with senior WP leaders amongst yourselves?
What do you mean by senior WP leaders?
Asking you whether you have one, CEC members or a subset of CEC members.
If you want to know whether there's a discussion on this, okay.
No.
No.
Don't preempt.
Yeah, no, not preempting. You're asking a bit something which is not related. Why is there a need to know whether do I have a WhatsApp group with a senior MP, this kind of thing, whereas I'm telling you that, Mr. Edwin, that there's no discussion on this.
Okay, don't preempt my question. Is there a WhatsApp group chat between you and senior members of the Workers' Party team?
On? WhatsApp group on?
On parliamentary matters which affect the party, anything.
Can you list what you mean by senior? I need to know.
Either groups which include either Mr. Singh and or Ms. Lim.
On this issue?
No, I said on any issue. Party matters,
no.
Parliamentary matters.
No.
You have no such group chat?
Yeah, only the MPs group chat, right? If you're talking about me, Pritam and Sylvia, there's the three of us. In general, we don't have. Yeah.
are the three of you on chats which include other members of the Workers' Party?
Mr. Edwin, I need to know that what's the relevance of you asking? Because I'm disclosing something which is confidential to us.
I am asking because, you see, I'll explain this and I'll let Mr. Chairman decide whether it's relevant.
Yeah.
There's a distinct lack of occasions where you can give evidence. There's a paucity of evidence. It's not much, based on your recollection. And I'm simply asking whether it was discussed. And I believe I'm entitled to because you yourself have accepted that it goes against logic not to have raised this, not to have asked questions.
Yes.
So I think I'm entitled to ask it, but I'll let Mr. Chairman decide.
This was it.
If I may add, I think these are fair questions. We are not asking on the topics that may be sensitive and other issues and to divulge them, but we're asking for whether such groups exist and whether this particular topic has been discussed. So I think these are fair questions. So
I can answer on the part of it's not been discussed.
So I think maybe answer specifically the questions raised as to the kind of groups available, and so we take it from there.
The group is in context of this particular issue? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
The fact that there's no discussion at all after this was disclosed to you by Ms. Khan on the 8th of August
Yes.
would also be consistent with her account of what happened on the 8th of August, correct?
Sorry, can you repeat, Mr. Edwin?
I've asked this question before in the context of a different subject matter, but let me repeat it. The fact that there's just no discussion at all, and I'm paraphrasing your own evidence, Mr. Faisal, is entirely consistent with Ms. Khan's recollection of what she was told on the 8th of August, correct?
I don't really get your question, but I want to say that there's nothing happened on the 8th of October as claimed by Ms. Han, said that we asked her to take the information to the grave. So there's no need for a discussion between us on this.
So let me rephrase my question and please answer the question. Don't frame a different question and then say that you can't answer it. Let me listen carefully.
Sorry.
And I think you will know that I've asked this question before. So let me put it to you again. The fact that there's simply no discussion at all, and as I said, I'm paraphrasing your evidence. You were very vehement in saying that there was no discussion at all earlier.
Yep.
The fact that there's no discussion at all is entirely consistent with Ms. Khan's recollection of what she was told on the 8th of August, correct? And I'm asking you to answer this question in the context of the assumption that Ms. Khan's version is correct, as I did earlier.
Ms. Han's assumption is correct. Okay, based on Ms. Han, yes.
Correct?
The impression that Ms. Han is going to get out of this, right?
Based on her account of what happened, answer this question. You understand?
I don't.
Okay. Actually, you've answered it before, but let me try again.
Because I think I did have some difficulty when you asked me this.
Yes, but you eventually understood what I'm saying, and I think it's the same point. But now in the context of discussions between Workers' Party MPs. But let me try again. There was a meeting on the 8th of August, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Khan has produced an account of what happened at the meeting, and she says that she was told to take the information to the grave, right?
That's her account,
That's her account. And when I say her account, this is what I mean.
Yes.
Okay? That means her understanding and her evidence and account of what happened on the 8th of August.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
Based on her account, okay, this is the premise I want you to adopt.
Okay.
Let me ask my question. The fact that there's simply no discussion at all between the Workers' Party MPs on the question of the lie or the clarification of the lie is entirely consistent with Ms. Khan's recollection and her account of what happened on the 8th of August, correct?
Okay, can I just clarify that she assumed that, you know.
I'm asking you to assume that she's correct.
Okay.
Agree?
Yeah. Agree.
Okay. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to trick you, Mr.
No, I don't have that in mind,
Yeah.
Mr. But just I have difficulty in understanding at times.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you have, I mean, pardon me, but if you have any difficulty at any time, just stop me, okay?
Indeed,
I'll
indeed.
explain.
That's what I did.
Okay. So, just so that I'm clear, based on Ms. Khan's account, okay, assuming that's true, the fact that there's no discussion at all about the lie or the clarification of the lie, that would be consistent with Ms. Khan's account
Yeah.
of what happened on the 8th of August, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, Mr. Faisal, earlier on, Mr. Lee asked you some questions about the disciplinary panel.
Yes.
You remember? I want to ask you some questions about it, okay? You had said this earlier, and I just want to see whether I noted it down accurately or not. You had said that the DP was focused on matters from the 8th to the 29th. The 8th is because that's the first day that you sat to receive any evidence, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Did I hear you correctly?
Correct. From 8 to 29.
So which means that anything and everyone who appeared before you and gave you evidence, that has got to be considered, right?
Yes.
And earlier on, you mentioned that to Mr. Lee that questions about your own role, including your knowledge from Ms. Khan on the 8th of August, those are not relevant because they fall outside of the period.
Correct.
Is that your evidence?
Yes.
And when you say that, you are trying to explain that all that's relevant is what people come and tell you. People meaning those who are relevant for you and those who you call members, activists, volunteers.
And plus Ms. Han.
And Ms. Khan.
Yes.
Yes. And it's not relevant that you yourself, with Ms. Lim and Mr. Singh, were actually privy to the information before you sat on the DP.
Sorry again. Can you repeat that part?
You are saying it's not relevant that you and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim were privy to information directly from Ms. Khan, and she had confessed to you earlier. You're saying that's not relevant
Relevant
to the issues that you need to decide, the recommendations you want to make, the kind of punishments and sanctions you want to impose on Ms. Khan.
Yeah.
Not
Correct.
relevant.
Yeah.
Do you agree that the DP has a duty to be upfront, truthful, open, and honest?
Yes.
And the DP should be in no position to decide on matters in which it has its own interest in, where there's a conflict, correct?
We don't decide. We make a recommendation to the CEC.
Yes, but you can't even make a recommendation on a matter on which you have a conflict, correct?
We can make a recommendation based on what has been presented to us between 8 to 29.
You can't make a recommendation on a matter where you yourself have an interest, correct?
What kind of interest do I have in this?
Generally, I'm asking you a general question.
If it generally, yes.
You agree?
But in this context, I don't have any interest. There's no interest.
So you agreed with me earlier that telling a lie in Parliament is wrong,
Indeed.
but allowing a lie to carry on in Parliament is also wrong, correct?
Indeed.
And at least for the latter category, you could be investigated as well, right?
Indeed.
So would Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim, right?
Yes, in general, yes.
So you have an interest in the matter directly, correct?
What kind of interest can I seek clarification?
What I just said, you could be investigated yourself
Yes, correct.
for not allowing the lie to be clarified, right?
Yes.
If that is the case, don't you think you have a conflict of interest in sitting on the DP?
No, I don't.
Why?
because the DP will present what is being presented to us by Ms. Raeesah, and she has the opportunity to inform us, on the 8th, why did you all ask me to take the information to the grave? Right? So she has all the opportunity that she has to state this. And as DP, we have to bring it up to the CEC.
Let me put it another way, Mr. Faisal. Again, on the assumption that Ms. Khan's account is correct. Okay? You understand me so far?
Account of her saying that we asked her to bring the information to the grave. Okay.
Yes. If she is correct, then two things could arise from that. Number one, we can understand her behavior and her conduct on the 4th of October, right?
Okay.
Because she's not disclosing the truth, and if she's right in her account, she's been told to bury the truth, right?
Yes.
And so that will be consistent with what she did on the 4th of October in Parliament, correct? Based on her account.
Based on her account, correct.
Yes. The second thing is that the people who told her to bury the truth would be yourself, Mr. Singh, and Ms. Lim, if she's correct, right?
If she's correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so isn't that a relevant factor for consideration by the DP?
Okay, the thing that we only got to know that she said that we asked her to take the information to the grave is on her information or her disclosure to COP.
Yes.
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 But prior to that, we don't know that she has that in mind or whatever triggered her to do so.
Yes. But you do know from the start that you have personal knowledge,
indeed,
beginning from 8th of August,
indeed,
directly from Ms. Khan, right?
Indeed.
Correct?
Correct. But we don't have the knowledge of she making that WhatsApp accusing us of asking her to bring the information to the grave.
Okay.
So when we formed the DP, I don't feel any conflict of interest because we didn't tell her that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
Let me explain to you why I'm putting this point to you. You have direct knowledge of the account from her.
Correct.
Right. As far as you are concerned, you know that it's been disclosed to yourself, Mr. Singh, and Ms. Lim.
Yes.
You didn't hear this come out in Parliament on the 4th of October, meaning there was no clarification,
yes,
right?
Correct, correct.
You have no idea what Mr. Singh told to Ms. Khan or why Ms. Khan didn't disclose it, right?
Correct.
It could well be that she was told to bury it, right?
Based on
it's possible because you don't know anything now, right?
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah. It could be that she was told to do so, but she refused.
Yes.
If you have direct personal knowledge and spoke to Ms. Khan, and in your words, Mr. Singh is responsible for guiding Ms. Khan on when to make the disclosure, and you know that the disclosure was not made on the 4th of October, don't you think those are relevant facts which the DP must consider?
Consider in terms of whether it's a conflict of interest.
Well, first of all, whether it's a conflict of interest for you to sit in judgment of that.
No.
And secondly, whether or not you're able to, in an unbiased fashion, make a judgment on Ms. Khan. You understand my question?
Yeah. But it linked back to the point that as we have discussed that initially I told her not to resign. Right?
You told her not to resign, right?
Yeah, it's stated here.
Yes, because you felt that she could carry on.
Yes.
Right.
So I don't see what's the conflict of interest. Let's say if in a situation where I'm part of DP, and it conflicts to the point of that she may felt that she's being told to bring the matter to grave. So I just don't get the link.
Do you agree that it is important to be open and let your members know that actually Ms. Khan had on her own accord and voluntarily come to confess to you.
Indeed, yes, but the timing-wise...
Wait, let me finish. Do you agree that
yes,
that would be relevant for your members to know?
Not only my members, all. And it need to be done in Parliament.
No, it's got to be done publicly, right? You got to tell the public that, hey, Ms. Khan came to confess to the senior leadership of the Workers' Party, and it is not as if she continued to lie on the 4th of October on her own, without the knowledge of everybody else.
I don't think it's right, and I strongly feel that it's not right. It's not, I don't think, I strongly feel that it's not right for me to come out open, whereas she was the one who said the lie in Parliament. She need to make the record proper herself. I think that's the noble thing to do, respectable thing for me to do.
It's a different point, Mr. Faisal. Whether she clarifies in Parliament, I understand your point. It's for her to do. I think that's the thrust of the press statement that you all made on the 2nd of December last week.
Yes.
You were there, right?
Yes.
The question is a different one. You are now a member of the DP, correct?
Yes.
You're asking members to come and give an account to you.
Yes.
Right. This includes what you should do to Ms. Khan, right?
Yes.
It includes whether to expel her or not, right?
Yes.
It includes what other kind of punishment to sanction on her, if not expulsion, correct?
Yes.
So the nature of her conduct is important, right?
Yes.
And whether she was persistent in her lie, or whether she sought the guidance of senior leadership and told them, is relevant, right?
Relevant
to the level of sanction or punishment that you would recommend. Agree?
Yes.
And that's precisely what at least two activists, Mr. Nathan and Ms. Loh, told you when they came before the panel and made a submission to you, right?
Told me what?
You as a member of the DP.
Yeah.
Correct? You understand my question?
I don't get it, but...
You are a member of the DP.
Yes.
We agreed earlier that you would be inviting questions and submissions from members, activists, volunteers of the Workers' Party, right?
Yes.
And so two of those members, senior members, cadre members, Mr. Yudhishthra Nathan and Ms. Loh Pei-Ying, they came to the DP, right? Correct?
Yes.
And they made a submission to the DP that the DP should be honest and open and disclose its own level of involvement, correct?
Disclose to?
The public and the members.
But the DP is investigating the issue. And we will present what is the finding that we have to the CAC. And that's our responsibility, third party. We have to present it.
Can you pick up 2nd of December transcripts? And turn please to page 51. 51. Okay? So this is Ms. Loh's evidence, and she told us that she came to the DP, or she went before the DP on the 25th of November, and you were present at the DP, right?
Yes.
Now go over the page. Go over the page to page 52. In the middle of the page, sorry, the top 1/3 of the page, Ms. Loh Pei-Ying, she says, we came prepared with quite a number of points. You see that?
Yes.
The first point, we had a feeling that one of the decisions they might make would be to expel Ms. Khan from the Workers' Party. You see that?
Yes.
Next section. One of the reasons I gave was everybody makes mistakes. While hers was very severe, other WP MPs have also made mistakes, and that expelling her would set a very bad precedent.
Yes.
And then she goes on and said this, and I want you to focus on this paragraph. I also told them that the CEC, and especially the DP, should tell the public the true timeline of events which I've shared here today. That when they knew what courses of action they took, I told them, you should make this public knowledge, barring confidential and personal information. You remember this submission to the DP?
I think, yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Go further down the page. I suggested to her that the reason you raised that is because it will be in a spirit of frank, open, and transparent. She says, yes, I believe that. And that it is necessary for the people in the public to know. She says, I fully agree with that. You remember the submission by Ms. Loh to you?
Yeah.
Did you accept it?
Meaning that the public need to know then, when we are doing the investigation of the...
Yes. Of course.
But we have not come to a conclusion that what are the
you see, the members are coming to you to give you suggestions on what to do with Ms. Khan. Let me finish.
Yeah.
How can you expect that these members will give you an informed view or opinion if they don't know that Ms. Khan had come to you, confessed fully? How can they give you an unbiased, full and frank opinion? Right? You understand now where I'm coming from?
I understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So can you answer the question?
Okay, basically, we can't disclose. For me personally, I feel that...
Mr. Faisal, you can't disclose or you don't want to disclose?
I can't disclose because it's the understanding that we have, the trust that we have. You know, this, as I mentioned earlier on, is a sensitive issue to Raeesah. Okay, it concerns a lot of parties, even Raeesah's, families.
Mr. Faisal, let me stop you there. No, it's not relevant, Mr. Faisal. Her family...
No, that was my...
Listen, her family, circumstances, not relevant.
It's relevant to me.
What's relevant in this exchange? Please focus on the evidence I just showed you. What's relevant in this context from Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan was that you as the DP should disclose to your members that actually Ms. Khan, just a few days after the falsehood in August, had come to you and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim to confess fully and to seek your advice.
If I disclose to them, isn't that I betrayed her trust, that she trusts in me?
Mr. Faisal, I think
that is
you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. If logically, yes, I do agree with you, Mr. Edwin.
How can a member come and give you an honest opinion, an unbiased opinion? If I thought, which is the impression that your press release conveys, if I thought that only Ms. Khan was aware of the falsehood and she proceeded to repeat the falsehood without telling the senior party leadership, that would be a very different impression than if she had told the senior party leadership first, right? You would agree with that, correct? It's a matter of logic, fairness.
Logic, yes.
And fairness.
And the difficulty we are facing that point in time.
Mr. Faisal, and fairness, correct?
Logically, yes.
And fairness.
Logically, yes.
I'm putting to you and fairness, correct?
In terms of logically, is yes. Fairness is yes. You need to uphold the fairness.
Meaning it will be fair to Ms. Khan, correct?
No.
It has to be fair to Ms. Khan and to the integrity of the entire process, because if you have people coming forward to make a recommendation of what you should do, which includes expelling Ms. Khan from your party, then it's only fair to Ms. Khan that they also know that she had gone to the senior party leadership and come clean, explain fully, openly, transparently. Right?
Logically.
It would only be fair, correct?
Logically.
And that's exactly what Ms. Loh was telling you. Right?
Yes.
The notes that you brought along today, does it include an account of what she told you?
No, I didn't have that part of Ms. Loh and the meeting the meeting we had with Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan.
You don't have?
I don't bring it along with me.
But you have recorded it?
Indeed.
In your report to the CEC, did you include what Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan said?
No, we kind of sum up.
Did you include?
No.
Why not?
Because the thing that we presented to the CEC is that basically what is our recommendation based on our assessment that we did throughout the DP period. Yeah, we don't actually give the detail. It's a recommendation of what we feel based on basically based on our interview with those who attended the DP.
So you didn't disclose to the CEC, as I heard your answers to Mr. Lee earlier, that on the 8th of August you had a meeting with Ms. Khan, right? And she told you the truth on the 8th of August. It was not part of your briefing to the CEC.
It's not part of the briefing.
Right?
Yeah.
You also did tell the CEC that 2 senior cadre members closest to Ms. Khan, most intimately involved with the process, and with whom Mr. Pritam Singh had discussed the drafting of the 1st November statement in detail, comes before the DP, makes a submission to the DP that you should come clean and be open and transparent. You also didn't disclose that to the CEC, right?
And
correct?
And many others, yeah. It also happened
and
to
so,
many.
when the CEC, according to your press release, voted overwhelmingly in favor of expelling Ms. Khan, they did so without knowledge of this information, right?
Information of...
At least the 2 pieces of information that I just told you.
Yeah.
That you knew from 8 August, all 3 of you on the DP knew on 8 August. That's information number 1. And information number 2 is that Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan, who you know in the context of this case, Mr. Faisal, are not just ordinary cadre members. They are cadre members who are closely working with Ms. Khan. And as I told you, in preparing everything for Ms. Khan to make her explanation on the 1st of November, they were involved in the drafting and the reviewing of the draft with Mr. Singh and with Ms. Lim.
Not privy of that.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And yet, why are these important bits of information that goes towards the logic and fairness of the process, and I would say the entire integrity of the process, why were they not put to your CAC before they made a vote?
Basically, what I can tell you, we presented the recommendation, the step that was taken, and we not only Ms. Loh's and Mr. Nathan sharing that, we did not disclose. There are so many other party members, so we don't disclose.
The recommendations that you are putting forward, or you had put forward, would include recommendations from members whom you heard submissions from, right?
Yeah, we sum up.
Correct?
Yeah.
And those members would have no idea that actually Ms. Khan had confessed to the senior party leaders in August, right?
Yes.
They had no idea, right?
Yes.
So don't you think their recommendation and their views to the DP would be completely biased?
No.
Misinformed?
No. Because I mentioned to you now, the DP present what has been collated.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's been collated includes views from members.
Yeah, and we sum up and we put a recommendation to the CAC.
Yes, but you sum up views of members, and those members had no idea that, in fact, Ms. Khan had come clean.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So don't you think, Mr. Faisal, in the interest of fairness, that that's information that, in all fairness and just out of good order and good sense and responsibility, it should have been put to the CEC, right?
Logically.
If the notes concerning Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan's submissions are not there in the file that you have today, that means that there are other relevant materials concerning the DP which you have not brought here today, right?
Okay, basically, I left my DP. I only bring along the notes that I took when we had Raeesah come and present herself to us.
Okay, so can you please give us a copy of what you have brought today? Plus, on top of that, can you go back and look at what other relevant documents you have concerning the DP, either in terms of the submissions that you received from members, or the considerations that you had in mind, or the deliberations that you had with the fellow DP members, and also the recommendations that went to the CEC, and any discussion on the recommendations. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Faisal, sorry, can I just get some clarity from you?
Sure, Mr.
The DP's recommendation to the CEC, you set out a presentation of the findings, right?
Yes.
You had the findings, and you had a recommendation.
Yes.
The recommendation to the CEC by the DP was that Ms. Khan either resign or be expelled from the party.
Failing to do so,
That was the DP's recommendation.
Yes, and yes.
And the CEC accepted that recommendation
We had
unanimously.
We had a vote.
Yes, so it's unanimous.
Yeah. No,
They all agreed.
overwhelmingly. Yeah,
that means almost everyone, or that means not everyone voted.
Everyone.
Overwhelmingly.
Yeah.
It was overwhelmingly endorsed the recommendation by the DP that she
Yes.
either resign or be expelled.
Yes.
And can I just be sure and have you on the record that the DP did not tell the CEC in your presentation that Ms. Khan, according to you, had confessed that she had lied on the 8th of August?
That's what I recall.
It's not in the presentation.
That's what I recall. It's not in the presentation, yeah.
And the CEC members, quite apart from it not being in the presentation, they themselves were not aware until
Yes.
the 2nd of December.
Okay, basically that we did have a Raeesah actually, okay, during the CEC meeting, right, okay, we started off with having Raeesah to be present at the meeting for her to explain about her resignation, because she did mention earlier in the day that she's going to resign. So we asked her to explain to the CEC. She was present at the CEC meeting.
It was.
And the CEC also has we create a situation where the CEC can actually ask her
Okay.
to clarify. So there's a transparency in terms like she can share what she wants to share.
Right.
CEC also has the right to ask
Correct.
Raeesah.
So in the whole course of that meeting, right up to the vote,
Yeah.
the CEC was not told that Ms. Khan had, according to you, confessed to Ms. Lim,
I recall.
Mr. Singh,
yeah.
and yourself. That
Yes.
You recall that that information did not appear.
Yes.
So would I be right to say that the CEC voted effectively to make Ms. Khan resign as a member of this parliament without knowing that actually she had confessed to the lie to 3 of you a few days after the 3rd of August? Effectively, that is so, right? They didn't know.
Yeah.
They didn't know. Thank you.
Welcome.
And that was the point we established earlier, Mr. Faisal, that the overwhelming vote by the CEC was done without knowledge of the fact that they had disclosed. Let me rephrase that. It was overwhelming vote by the CEC for Ms. Khan to be expelled from the party
Yeah.
was reached without knowing that Ms. Khan had come to you and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim to confess to the falsehood.
Yes.
And in your words, in reasonable to come and expect that advice be given, correct?
Yes.
And it was also not disclosed to the CEC that senior cadre members close to Ms. Khan had made a very strong pitch to the DP for the DP to disclose their own involvement, to disclose their own knowledge, and to come clean with the public.
Yes.
Correct?
You're correct.
Mr. Faisal, I'm going to finish soon, but I just want to check some evidence with you, just so that I know them, because as we have agreed earlier, I think sometimes the logic doesn't fit. So I just want to make sure that we agree and I understand you. Your the first time you heard about the falsehood, the false anecdote was on the 8th of August, correct?
Yes.
At that meeting, nothing else was said. No question asked, no clarification, no further comment. Absolutely nothing, zero was said at the meeting, right?
Regarding the...
Regarding the lie.
Correct.
And everything I'm asking you about is about the lie
Okay.
now, okay? Unless I say otherwise. And as far as your position is concerned, that is the case all the way through, including through October 4th and 5th, which was the next parliamentary sitting,
Yes.
correct? Just so I am clear, actually the next parliamentary sitting from the 8th of August was not October, but actually September, right?
Sorry again?
The next parliamentary sitting, if the intention was for Ms. Khan to clarify, would actually have been
yes.
September, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So as far as you know, no steps were taken anywhere in September, right through October,
Not the
until the
preview of,
sitting.
yeah.
Not that you're privy of.
Yeah.
But as far as you know, none, zero, right?
Yes.
And we had agreed that all of this would be consistent with Ms. Khan's own account of what happened and agreed on the 8th of August meeting, right?
Her
account, based on her account. It will be consistent with that, correct?
Correct.
And as a senior member of the party, vice chairman, you did not ask Mr. Singh, you did not ask Ms. Khan, you didn't ask Ms. Lim, you just didn't ask anyone
Yes.
at all, correct?
Yes. Correct.
No one told you any information at all,
Yes. No one.
period.
Yes.
Right through from the 4th and 5th of October, even though by that time the lie was repeated. Is that correct?
Yes.
And earlier on you said that when I asked you whether it's reasonable for Ms. Khan to come to the meeting on the 8th of August expecting that she be given guidance and advice, and you said yes, right? Whether it's reasonable for Ms. Khan to come to that meeting expecting to be given guidance and advice, and your answer was yes earlier, right?
Yes.
But you went on to say that since she didn't ask, you didn't give any advice. Either on the 8th of August or any time thereafter,
Yes.
including the meeting that you had with her
On the 7th
on
of
the
October.
6th of October.
7, I think.
The meeting you had with her was on the 7th of October. Yes. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And even though you knew by the 7th of October that the police had now reached out to her
Yes.
for an interview,
Yeah.
which means that besides the lie and the repeat of the lie, there's now a request by the police to come for an interview.
Yes.
You still didn't think it was appropriate to ask what is going on, to ask for some
Yeah.
information.
That was my judgment call then.
And that's based entirely on your knowing Mr. Singh for 10 years. Is that right?
Yes, and also based on Raeesah didn't bring it up on the 7th that we met. So I believe my assumption that everything is going on well.
Okay. And you were happy to leave the handling of this matter to Mr. Singh, even though you had no idea what he was doing, and
Yeah.
whether or not this matter would eventually be clarified in Parliament.
I
Correct?
believe he will have it, that he will get Raeesah to...
Yes, but you have no basis for doing that besides your knowledge of Mr. Singh, right?
Yes, the trust
Correct.
I have in him, yes.
Right. And the fact that there's no discussion about the lie and the clarification anywhere between you and Mr. Singh and Ms. Lim, and as you said earlier, in any of your Workers' Party MPs' chats,
Yes.
would be entirely consistent with Ms. Khan's own account of what happened on the 8th of August, correct?
Yes.
And you remain in this position despite the fact that the police had asked her for an interview on the 7th
Yes.
of October. By the 7th of October, when you knew that the police had made a request, did you ask yourself whether this was a legitimate request by the police? It would have been,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Would have been a fair request, right?
Yeah, fair request.
Because the police is now under pressure due to the false accusation. There's a falsehood that is said in Parliament that you know of. The police didn't know at that point in time,
Yeah.
and they had to clarify, right?
They have to, I mean, they invited her to give further clarification.
Yes, and it's a fair invitation, right?
I feel it's fair.
Did you think that Ms. Khan should agree to go and see the police? and be interviewed?
In terms of rational way, yes. Rationally, yes. She should. I mean, in general, that she may want to meet up with the police. Yes, but as I mentioned to you earlier on, that there's so many things to consider at a point in time. There's many things they need to evaluate in terms of Raeesah as well as Pritam. So I leave the matter to them, and they should be able to make the best decision on this issue.
I mean, we agreed it's a fair request.
It's a fair request in general. In general, yes.
You said rationally and logically, she should meet the police, right?
In general, because I mean, okay, if you're talking about her being a parliamentarian, right? So I don't know in terms of law whether is it.
No, let's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get into legal positions, but just as a matter of, you know the facts.
Yeah,
you know the facts.
Yes.
You know the facts. You know it's untrue.
Yes.
You know the police is asking her for an interview.
Yes.
You know that the longer the falsehood remains on the record, the
Yes.
worse it is for the police, the worse it is for the members of the public,
Yes.
in particular sexual assault victims. So in that context, don't you think it's important, reasonable, rational, logical for Ms. Khan to go and see the police to clarify?
General, yes.
And so the only reason why you thought that needn't be done is because Mr. Singh, you know Mr. Singh well, and you trust him.
And here's the information that which I do not have for him to make an evaluation, the right judgment and the right evaluation.
But which you didn't ask at
Sorry?
all. But which you didn't ask.
Yes,
at all.
I didn't ask.
Would it be fair to say that actually, in this case, almost every proposition I have put to you over the course of this whole afternoon, on logic, on reasonableness, you would agree with me.
Yes.
But that what stops you from agreeing with me entirely is that you trust Mr. Singh.
And I do not have the information which he has.
Which he has, but which you didn't ask about.
Yeah, which I didn't ask about.
So in other words, it's a trust in Mr. Singh. Otherwise, everything else that I've said, including what happened,
Yes.
the follow-ups, the logic of what I have told you is very strong, right?
I can see that.
And the proposition I put to you would be reasonable and rational. The only thing that in your mind stops you from agreeing with me entirely is that you trust Mr. Singh and that you believe that he has the right information to make the judgment call.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Faisal. I've got no further questions at this point, but could you please get the relevant documents, including look through the chats and see whether there's anything in there. And if there are, please do disclose it to us.
Yep.
And subject to that, I've got no further questions at this point.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from other members? Grace, Zaki, Dennis, Don? Don, maybe Don first.
Hi, evening, Mr. Faisal. So Ms. Khan informed us last week that she had discussed her 3rd of August speech, which comprised of various topics with each other, and I quote, at a meeting. And specifically, she said, and I quote, I discussed it with Faisal Manap.
Yeah.
So therefore, at that meeting, you were aware of various parts of her 3rd of August speech, meaning the FGC, the polygamy,
Yes.
as well as the alleged police mistreatment. Okay.
No, we only discussed about the issues pertaining to the Muslim community.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Zaki Mohammed.
Thanks, Chairman. Mr. Faisal, earlier I know there was a lot of exchanges between you and Minister Tong on, the DP. I have a question. Apart from Ms. Loh and Mr. Nathan on the DP, were there others who responded to WP's call for members to come forward to give, their concerns, feedback, or even issues on the statement on the conduct of Ms. Raeesah Khan? There were. And how many, may I ask? Were there?
I believe that I do not want to disclose because the internal party information.
Then maybe can I ask, were there members who asked about whether, WP knew, when you knew about the...
No.
No one asked about that.
No.
So it's interesting that no one asked about transparency or when the leadership knew about this.
If you ask me, there's no one asked about it. Yeah.
Okay.
But I believe that I shouldn't be dwelling much into this because we have given the confidentiality to, the assurance of confidentiality to those people who attended our session.
Okay. No,
So not comfortable to share.
Okay, no, but my concern was more no one asked that, that party knew this beforehand.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Grace?
Thank you, Mr. Faisal. Can I just follow up on Mr. Don Wee's question?
Yes.
I think he asked you whether Ms. Khan has discussed her speech, 3rd August speech with you.
Yes.
And you said that you've only discussed issues pertaining to the Muslim community.
Indeed.
Can I take it that it is the FGC?
Yes.
She has discussed that with you?
Yes.
The polygamy? She has
Yes.
discussed with you. And the police treatment of sexual assault victim. Not the part that she's gone, that she has been herself a victim,
Yeah.
but the fact that there is this call in her speech for
Yeah.
police to step up in their interview of victims. Is that in a discussion with you?
I don't recall that because even in her submission of her first draft, right, is what she said, and I did check, that she didn't include the anecdote. So I believe that, is the anecdote is not being included, then there shouldn't be a mention about the way how the police treated the.
So I think in her speech there are 2 parts. One about her accompanying. Second part is really about how we should beef up the ability of the police in terms of a way to interview and so on.
Yeah.
So are you saying that both items were not in the draft, or
No.
only the first part about her accompanying?
Okay, the issue, she called me up to ask me to look at her speech is basically to ensure that I have strong feeling about the FGC and polygamy, so I don't go into other aspect of her speech.
We understand from Ms. Khan that it's the practice of the Workers' Party to post the
Indeed,
draft speech.
indeed.
So, given that this is a speech that has implication on the Muslim community,
Yes.
did you have a chance to look at the speech?
Yeah,
beforehand?
she printed it out, and then we met. I think maybe a day before she delivered her speech. Okay, but prior to that, we did have a discussion. I mean, we have at least 2 or 3 discussion among the MPs. What are the topics need to be brought up. So I did give my view, and by that, then she had not drafted the speech, but she voiced out a view of wanting to bring up the issue of polygamy and FGC, which I told in that meeting that it should be avoided.
Despite what you tell her, it was in her draft
Indeed,
speech
indeed.
that has been posted shared with the other MPs.
Indeed.
So you have seen the draft speech before it was delivered.
Okay, I didn't see because she put it up very late on Sunday evening. So the next day she asked me to meet up with her at the LO's office, of which she printed out, and she allowed me to go through. Yeah.
And you only highlighted the area on FGC and polygamy, not the part.
Yeah, because that's what she presented to me, that portion of the speech.
So you didn't have sight of the speech, of the draft speech?
I didn't get, as I mentioned, she uploaded, but I didn't go through the uploaded speech. So the only time that I read the speech is the one that she presented to me. Okay, these are my portion on FGC and polygamy, so can you just go through it? Yeah, so I only read that particular part.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Ms. Rayu Mazam, any question? If there are no further questions for now, we would like to thank you for coming before the committee. A transcript of the proceedings will be shared with you for verification, so do go through it. And if you have any minor amendments, please make the changes and the transcripts back to us. Do note that the transcripts and any evidence given to the committee are not to be disclosed to anyone. or publish and must be kept strictly confidential until the committee has presented the relevant report to Parliament. You may withdraw now, but I don't believe we'll need to be calling Mr. Faisal Manap back today. Not likely. Yeah. So we, as requested, we'll need some of the documents, as highlighted earlier, in terms of correspondence and so on, related to some of the matters that have been raised and have been requested to you. And our staff will accompany you to the waiting room. So once again, thank you very much for patience and for cooperation. Sergeant at Arms, please accompany the witness out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a good time to we'll take a break. For the PAL staff, you can make a copy of the notes that Mr. Manap will be making available to you.